Matt, and I was in choir. I remember vocal warm-ups.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
Woo!
Hello, Internet. Welcome. We are Legends of Logomancy, the greatest TTRPG stream this side Mondays has ever seen. Thank you so much. Don't worry about it if you don't give me a script. I say whatever I want, James. I am the keeper of lore.
Didn't ask for one. Just gonna put it out there.
All right, James. Extra sanity loss. Got it. Understood.
This is the way.
This is
the
the way. I'm
You're
gonna
doing great.
die.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us tonight. I am thrilled to be welcoming you here for our mini campaign of Call of Cthulhu. I am going to be your keeper of arcane lore for the evening. But before I get too far down the rabbit hole that is Call of Cthulhu, want to go around, see how everybody is doing. Starting with Ken. How are you?
I'm good. I'm remembering to hit the push to talk button so I don't absolutely blow up my microphone today, but I'm doing pretty well. I'm glad to be back. It's been a while since I haven't been Jub the Wizard. But I think this will be a fine notch in my belt here tonight.
Kudo points for dressing up for the evening. I thought about it and didn't follow through, but good on you.
The trick is forgetting that your office climbs immediately to 30 degrees when the door's closed and sweating to stay in character.
Well, that's perfect. It's going to be right on theme. I love it. Love it. Neon, how you doing?
Good. I'm doing good. Feeling good. It's nice to put pants on for the first time in 2 to 3 weeks now.
Who
Nice.
earns?
So,
I mean,
Who earns?
boo pants, but also congrats pants.
oh, it's nice. I feel like a person today.
Excellent.
Yeah, so I'm excited to get in here. Horror and Lovecraft stuff has always been huge interest of mine. It's not in frame, but I have a whole Necronomicon leather-bound entire collection of H.P. Lovecraft book that I've read front to back multiple times.
Oh, I'm jealous.
So
That's
I'm
amazing.
so hype.
Nice. I'm very excited. Cadigan, how you doing?
I am doing good. I'm really excited to be here with everyone. This is my first time playing Call of Cthulhu, and it's also kind of like something I'm really interested in because I love the psychological RPG horror themes. And the era that we're playing in is one of my favorite like historical eras. So yeah.
Yes.
How often do you think about the Roman Empire?
I have thought about it. I have watched documentaries. I really like learning about Pompeii and also aqueducts.
Oh, fun.
It depends if you're talking. Do you include the Lost Roman Legion?
Oh, TikTok, you bastard. You're so good
Because if you
at
do,
people.
way more often than I should.
Well, I'm going to encourage you not to focus too much on the Romans for the next approximately 3 hours. James, how you doing?
I represent the Church of England, damn it. It's the appropriate time frame for that. Speaking of sweating for your art, I'm doing good. My feet still hurt after a really successful weekend of being a wizard in invisible shoes. I was wearing camel Crocs all weekend because I needed to. I had a wardrobe malfunction.
I knew immediately which shoes you were wearing. Oh, God.
Yeah.
For a
And
moment, I'm like, damn, James just got them dogs out.
Right? It became a running joke, and everybody seemed to love it. We had a good time. Got to meet like 1,000 people.
You said there was like 600 people that showed up to actually participate?
The first day.
The first day. Oh my gosh,
weekend.
that's amazing.
Yeah,
Damn.
it was a good time. Definitely a success. All the businesses were happy. I got to LARP all weekend, and hello, everyone. Talk like this. It was a really good time. I'm looking forward to Melissa doing the majority of the talking, so I don't have to. John is a very soft-spoken man. It's very contemplative, and I'm going to try and keep my mouth shut as much as possible.
Who are
It's
you
gonna
and
be
what have you done with James?
It's going to be so fucking hard. That's why it's acting.
I was like, yeah, I believe this. All of the things you're saying to me, I believe are in your wheelhouse and capabilities. 13 years has definitely proven to me that you know how to keep your mouth shut.
Now. Good night, everybody. No.
Good night, everybody.
So,
James
who's
loses
keeping the
more
kids in the
sanity.
divorce?
And with that, I am going to kick us off into kind of some prelude to tonight's episode. So this is Logomancy's inaugural leap into Call of Cthulhu. So we are going to take a gentle start into this. For those of you who have never played this game before, it does differ slightly from what you're used to with, say, Dungeons and Dragons. So in Dungeons and Dragons, when you develop your characters, they by their very nature of being level 1 adventurers, they are better than everyone else. They already can punch and kick and jump and do magic and do things that other people can hardly fathom. Our investigators are not so lucky. They are just people, literal people who are living their lives in 1938 England, and they are about to experience more. So they are not by nature extremely adept at any particular thing, despite what they may have, or except for what they may have developed in terms of the education that they have, the work experience that they have had, and the street and book smarts they've managed to gain along the way, while also managing to survive World War I. With all that being said, when our players go to make rolls on their character sheets, they have a number of skills available to them. They will make an explanation to me on what kind of skill they want to use and why, and how that looks for their character, to try and convince me that they can use one of the 8 skills on the list that they're actually good at, instead of me making them use one of the ones that they are just not. In order to succeed at a regular roll, you must get lower than your skill on a D100 roll. If things get a little bit hairy, that roll can get a little bit harder. And if things are dire, they get even harder beyond that. We'll start to see that in real play here, and we'll kind of learn as we go along together. When we do get to the end of this session today, we're going to be showing everybody in the audience how we upgrade our skills. Again, using this as an opportunity to kind of show how this kind of works and to gauge audience interest in seeing some more of this kind of campaign stuff. We're all relatively junior and new and green to the world of Call of Cthulhu, so in some ways, we're going to be learning along with you.
I have a question for you regarding the
Absolutely.
mechanics.
Yeah.
When we're looking at our role options for this,
Yes.
because again, I've played a fair bit of Call of Cthulhu.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to approach it as our role options right now are regular because the tension is low, versus, hey, everybody, we're stepping into hard role options now because the tension is higher? Or do you want to call it specifically, give me a hard accounting roll or a regular accounting roll? What's your preference?
I will, right now, you can assume, unless otherwise asked, that you are rolling a standard roll.
Understood.
I will let you know when you are doing a hard or a desperate. Am I using the right word?
Extreme.
Extreme. We just finished Girl by Moonlight. The terminology, the roles aren't that dissimilar in the styles. It's going to be a little, I'm going to do this. So for now, everything is standard. You don't have to ask for it. And I will be asking for harder rules as we get more difficult through this.
I love it.
Any other questions about general mechanics before we launch into our story today? Okay. Nothing is good.
Reminder of push to talks.
Thank you. Yes.
Indeed.
All right. And with that, our story can begin. Rain is falling, and the fog is blowing softly, being pushed. There's fog and rain. Just realized what I did. Anyway. And on a hill, we see a lone figure, dressed in black, standing under an umbrella, staring down at the cold, tilled earth of a fresh grave. a bright white stone placed at its head, and a church just off in the distance. Rows of the dead, and one freshly laid. Ken, can you describe your character for us?
Damp, disheveled, wearing a borrowed coat. Not in the best of suits, not in the best of situations. Cole's cold. Cole is weary. Cole is tired. Cole's got bags under his eyes, and he's shaved last week, and he's worried. Cole's got problems that need to be solved, but his great aunt passing, that is a glimmer of opportunity. That is one clean shell found in the mud in a trench. That's a penny sticking up out of a cobblestone. Maybe it's something. Maybe.
For a moment, you have visions of the elaborate affair that was the passing of the Lady Merlane's funeral. Sprays of flowers adorning every available surface, opulence, something you're not as familiar with, not as used to. And there's a taste of opportunity as you try to mind the somber occasion in which you find yourself. You gather yourself at the end of the funeral and make your way back to your hotel. You know that tomorrow's going to be a busy day. The solicitor, Mr. Whittleburn, has called you in for the reading of the will. You know that there's going to be some hoops to jump before you'll see even a cent out of this estate. And you don't know quite what might be waiting for you in that will, how much you might get out of this. And you know that you need to be prepared. What are you doing?
Most likely, very idly, thumbing in equal portions a very weathered set of brass knuckles. And when reminding myself that those need to be stowed and tucked away in good company, probably again fastidiously polishing my metal that nobody sees, nobody needs to be shown, but I know it needs to be kept. So take the handkerchief and I work my way around the edges. And when I'm satisfied I haven't gotten any more grimy than when I started, put it back inside my jacket, tuck it in the lapel, and go back to thumbing the brass knuckles again.
All right. You go to bed. You hope for a brighter morning, maybe a little bit less damp, and hope that the radiator can dry your socks even a little bit before you wake in the morning. They are your last pair, after all.
They're thin. It should happen. I'll give it time.
And when you wake, it's very nearly time to head over to the solicitor's office. And you walk across the cobbled streets to the brick building. And as you go inside, you are ushered into a large room with a big wooden table with a number of people standing around it. You see a a rotund individual with a curly mustache and a gray suit, fussing with papers and making piles of copies. And every so often, looking over their shoulder at a figure standing over in the corner. Looks to be someone of some repute, someone with some authority. Cadigan, would you like to describe your character to us, please?
Roger Cadigan is a slender older gentleman between 40 to 50, with a mustache right across his face. He's got this deep set kind of blue eyes that just kind of pierce through the crowd, looking every which way, just observing things. He's got a chain against his lapel that goes into like a breast pocket that looks like it's attached to probably a pocket watch. He is standing very stiffly, not necessarily showing that he's leaning on it, but he's got a cane with like a crow. If he moves it a little bit, people can see like this crow like detail on the top part. And he stands just watching, listening to conversation, not really showing too much interest in socializing, but in general, just attentiveness.
Cadigan's here on business. And standing next to you, we see a vicar. James, can you describe your character for us, please?
Vicar John Wright is a solid, clean-shaven man with a tidy, close haircut. Well-groomed vestments. He is stout, sober-looking, and has just a somber look as he takes in the room. Has a warm, caring eye for every person present. These are troubled times, and it's hard on everyone. He is, by all accounts, a man of God, as easily identified by the things that he wears. But the people that know him to be practical, sensible, and reliable. He is the leader of this parish that the lady has lived in for all of these years, and is here doing his religious duty, making sure that everything is as it should be under the eyes of God.
Cadigan, this has been this is it. This is the turning point in your career. An opportunity to lead an investigation of a murder of a beloved woman within this small town. Seemed simple enough when they first described it to you. And then they told you about the markings all over her body. The family thought it was strange that they weren't allowed to see them, that they weren't allowed to bid their last farewells. But you'd insisted. Closed casket. No viewers. A few photos had been taken. Some etchings of things. But nobody was allowed to see the body before it was buried. You decided to bring in John for his expertise and his understanding of the lady. You've been tasked with figuring out what happened to her. The murder, seemingly a mystery. And now you're here to observe and figure out what exactly is going on. And get access to this house that has been very difficult to gain entry to. It seems like the Lady Merlane, while proud of her abode, was very quiet about letting people in. Even her closest family hadn't been allowed in the last decade. And as you sit down at the table, the rotund individual that is Mr. Whittleburn sits down to go over the contents of the will with you. Oh my. I have been entrusted with the responsibility of conveying the final wishes to all of you of the late Lady Merlane. Oh my, I get that wrong every time. But no. He kind of shuffles his papers again. The late Lady Merlane, yes. I, Lady Merlane, being of sound mind and body, do hereby bequeath the contents of my estate to be split as such. 50% of my land holdings, my belongings, my jewelry, and other such artifacts will go to that of my dear great nephew Cole, that he may inherit an understanding of their worth, and it is my wish that he should preserve them indefinitely, so as to not lose the value of our most sacred possessions of our family. I trust that he will care for them with the way that I have these many long years, and not let them be lost to the hands of greed and otherwise nefarious means. The remaining contents of my abode, my books, and other readings which may be of service to the parish, will be donated under the guidance and holding of Vicar John Wright to allow the great establishment of our parish to grow with knowledge and love as it has this great many long years. I bid that you ensure that the value of my property be split equally, with a priority of our heirlooms remaining in-house. I have contracted in the time of my passing the services of a good antique dealer, one I have known many long years, and I trust that she will be aware of the unique value of the items of which is available within our estate. I thank everyone for their care during my life. And then it seems to go on. But yes, there is a number at the bottom relating to a contact for you, sir. And he ruffles with the papers and hands a stack of papers to you, Cole.
Cole tries to maintain his composure, but his hand is excitedly trembling as he takes the stack. So he's in a mix of panic, rage, fear. He's sweating immediately, even in the cool.
He mutters condolences. Congratulations, condolences.
Yeah.
To you.
Sure. Thank you.
The house. He digs into a pocket. He's like, I had it here somewhere. I had it. I know I did. Oh, yes. And pulls out a single ornate iron key with a long tassel hanging off of it with a flower on the end, and says, the key. Now, I have been notified. He goes to hand you the key and then says, oh, well, I have been notified, you see, that due to the nature of her passing, that the local authorities, she turns to Cadigan, do need to investigate the property before the items can be distributed. However, I am told that you may all, as long as you are witnessed, is that right? Is that right, detective? You need to be there?
As long as we are witness to the items and artifacts that are around the estate, it'd be good for our investigation with the good help of or vicar here and whomever is available, that everything is all in order, as this is a crime scene.
In that case, I must bestow the key and rightful property ownership until such time that the claims is cleared to you, and hands you the key.
Sir Cadigan will nod, glance over to where Cole is, and put it into his breast pocket.
Cole absolutely does not make eye contact. It's not a thing that happens between the two of us.
So, Cole, you have the deed to the house.
Yep. And conditional surrender of its goods.
Cadigan, you have the key to the front door. And Vicar, you have a copy of the will.
I like it.
And Whittleburn hands you a small little index card, Cole, with the address of a local antique dealer.
Right. Well, let's get this circus on the road, I suppose. We've got monkeys that we need wrangling, don't we? Oh boy.
John will come over and lay a hand, like it's a too large hand. Like the man is
under the shoulder.
Yeah. He lays it right on the on top, and it says, "Grief does strange things to folks. I can only imagine what you're feeling right now, and that all of the pageantry that goes along with it can sometimes feel overwhelming. Your great aunt, in her advancing years, was a good, kind woman and maintained her mind to the end. I'm sure that the choices that she made in bequeathing you the responsibility to look after your family's legacy is well placed." And he gives you a subtle nod, and he says, "But it's not sensible to dwell in grief. We must carry on. Why don't we, as you say, get this show on the road?"
And Cole doesn't so much as gesture at the detective as he kind of like, he's struggling between finding some way of acknowledging the detective's there but not getting his attention, because there's just an automatic fear response there. Just you can't. Vicar, if you could be so kind.
Of course, I understand entirely. Squeezes his shoulder hard and steps over to the detective and says, "We must be kind in these circumstances. Our good man is obviously grieving. Let's be about our business and locate our antiques dealer. Perhaps we can begin the work of seeing to the home."
I believe that is a good point of reference, Vicar. I do appreciate that. We cannot do anything without Master Cole actually
Indeed.
contacting the antiques dealer to make arrangements for them to visit the property. Once those arrangements are made, I'm sure we can then go through the property and the estate.
Yes. Mr. Whittleburn, may we make use of your telephone?
Certainly. It's over here in the back room. If you just mind the papers, there's the system, and you come into a room that is just teeming with like mishmashes of papers, and as you're glancing around, there's very obviously various wills and testaments held in very big disarray. Honestly,
if this man ever owned a filing cabinet, it's under the heap.
Exactly. Yeah. And he removes the stack and hands you and moves the phone towards you.
Right.
Master Merlane will give you some privacy. And the vicar sees himself out of the small room.
Cadigan will follow right after with Well, he'll probably be already at the door, and then he will go out.
At 10:03 precisely in the morning, the phone rings in the shop. And who answers?
Yeah.
Ahoy.
Hello,
Wait.
you've reached Bloodstone's Antiques and Trinketies, Curiosities, and more. How may I direct your call today?
I'm Cole.
Cole, Merlin,
yeah.
right?
Yeah. Merlane, my great aunt. She
right, sorry about that.
she kicked it, and we need to get her stuff. And you're on the list to go out with us and sign off on that.
Fortune indeed.
Yeah.
I'll be on my way.
Wait. Hello?
Gone.
Hello? The hell?
And approximately 10 minutes later, there's a rap on the door. And who do they see enter?
In walks a woman who is... It's as if you put English ivy in a knit cardigan and a brown soiled dress. She is tall and lanky, and every feature of her seems to fall right in that uncanny valley of, you're a person. I know you're a person, you should be a person. But for some reason, I'm gonna forget you the moment I stop looking at you. Her long green knit cardigan is dirty at the cuffs and at the bottom, caked with just little bits of mud and dirt. Her brown dress is patchy and sewn together. The buttons that keep the torso together have been replaced 4 or 5 times. All the earth tones accenting these buttons that look like just the finest collection of the strangest colored berries you've ever seen. Around her neck is a storm of necklaces, so many that it is visually confusing and cluttering. And where you swear her hands would connect to her wrists and her arms, there is just bangle upon bangle of silver and gold hoop and wooden carved and just jewelry to the 9th and 10th degree. Her hair is long, brown, matted. You could swear that in certain lights there might be some moss or vine or plant in there, but you're not quite sure. It's almost as if your brain refuses to pick up certain elements of whoever this is.
Are you the antiquer?
Yes, Maeve. Maeve Stone.
All right.
Congratulations on your passing.
Yeah.
Wait.
No, I get that. It's
her passing.
Ms. Stone.
Ah. Vicar. Pleasure to see you.
Always.
Sorry I haven't been by on Sundays. It's been incredibly busy.
I can only imagine. My offer always stands. My door is always open to you.
I appreciate that.
I do so enjoy our talks.
So you can vouch that she's not just wandered in, and this is...
I can confirm that Miss Stone runs a place of business that deals in antiquities.
Is it cheap?
I assure you.
Oh, percentage?
Nothing about Miss Stone is cheap.
I assure you, Mr. Cole, anything that my services may provide will be paid for in adequate and reasonable amounts.
Right.
And I promise you that it's well within your cost.
As stipulated in the will, somebody else already paid. I'm good.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, the 4 of us should
Indeed.
It is a pleasure doing business with you. And she will I'll reach my very long, almost uncanny arm out for a handshake. And as my long bony fingers wrap around yours, there's a split moment where you think, wait, is that a third knuckle in each finger?
Oh
Like a
god.
fourth one? But
Yeah,
then the feeling passes.
Nervous, furtive. Okay, I'm deeply unsettled, and I don't think we're gonna have time today for tea. So,
Oh, I mean, I've already. And she lifts her cardigan up, and there's a thermos.
okay, there's catering.
Of
Great.
To be fair, this is England, and he taps like a leather satchel that also has a small thermos and a small wrapped wax paper bundle of biscuits.
If anyone's looking at Sir Cadigan, he's already got. He's putting something silvery back into his inner breast pocket.
The other half of England.
The other half of England is
with
like
the
a
cheese.
flask. There is a flask, like a silver flask, just being put right back into the inner breast pocket.
Cole knows a nip when he sees one.
Somehow you're the only one without tea or refreshments.
I blame my time on the world. I've been
Thankfully,
away from home for a long time.
Master Merlin, I imagine that there will be many cups at the manor.
Sure.
Yes,
Yeah,
we
we'll
can share.
rustle something up. I would be remiss, as my property might need to host guests. We should get to the house. I don't know why the four of us haven't left yet.
Before we go, Mr. Merlin, I do wish to know one thing. I know you are anticipating to leave quickly, and I definitely understand. Will there be any servants or a housekeeper at your property to greet us when we do arrive?
As far as my aunt staff the house, I'm sure those affairs have been taken care of. We should inspect anything being missing by any wayward staff easily. But, I mean, I want to make sure everything's where it needs to be.
Mr. Whittleburn says, there was a housekeeper. The staff was apparently downsized quite significantly recently, but the housekeeper who alerted the authorities of the passing, she has left town. The house stands vacant. And detective, you have a one-page hastily scrawled note. Nope, not quite. I know you're
Good,
excited.
good.
Okay. This is part of why you were brought in. This case has been woefully mismanaged, and the woman was eventually found by the local authorities, but she didn't seem all herself. And last you heard, she was being assessed at the local sanatorium.
After you, Master Merlin. We will have, unless you already have a carriage prepared.
I seem to have left my receipts in another jacket, so I believe we'll be making the hike up the hill.
After you.
I'm
not one for hiking, as he limps out the door.
Exercise is good for the spirit.
May it be noted.
Exercise. And Cole himself pulls out it's not a cracked flask, but it's definitely an old liquor bottle that he's been squeezing corks into that's probably on its last drag at this point. He tips it to the vicar, slams whatever's left, and fastidiously puts the bottle away so he can use it later, and follows after.
I
So-
appreciate your consideration of not littering.
The walk to the hill is quite strenuous, as it is at the top. Widow Peak Manor is at the top, and as you work your way towards the top of the hill, you are all walking in some semblance of a line, talking idly amongst yourselves, and you realize that you are now 3. And when you turn around, you see that some 30 or 40 paces back, Roger Cadigan is limping up the hill.
The vicar is keeping stride with Mr. Cadigan. No wayward sheep.
It takes significantly longer, and Cadigan, you will take any rolls for physical activity over the next 2 hours will be hard rolls for you for having walked up this hill.
I'm not waiting for them. I'm too excited.
Okay.
I'm hastily trying to keep up with her in kind of a, I got to keep her from getting in the house first. Neither one of us has the key, but also, oh God, this mad woman. So, whatever conversation she's starting up, I'm probably deflecting into or not. So she's learning about the various clubs that I'm a member of. Like there's the Veterans Union that I represent, and there's the Young Men's Association. There's the Wounded War Heroes. There's the charitable strike workers group. There's the secondary backup strike workers group.
And now you can add Young Nepotist Victory Story Club to your list. Ooh, that's food. Thank you.
Strategic. And it's definitely not an interrogation of this wild woman that's coming from the woods to serve as an antiquarian, but I'm soft vetting you.
Oh, yes. No, I promise you, we have all the proper qualifications. In fact, actually, we've been quite interested in the Lady Merlane's collection for quite some time. You see, there have been quite a few interesting...
The will described it as artifacts.
Yes. We are finally excited to get those artifacts into the right hands at the right time.
Of course, yes. I'm sure you have buyers lined up, perhaps.
Many.
Or...
You could call them buyers. Some are... You see, when you work with antiques for so long... Yeah, well, when you work with antiques for so long, it's less of buyers and more finding exactly who each piece is supposed to go to. It's less that they are coming in to purchase something. It's more making sure that everything is just right where it should be.
As long as we're on the same page at the auction in the next few days, I understand implicitly.
You will get your payment.
Right. We come to an uneasy understanding.
200, 300 feet back, the vicar is apologizing profusely to Mr. Cadigan, saying, I apologize, sir. We have at our disposal a Volvo LV. However, it was such a quick walk over that I made no... I may have erred in my judgment, for I did not know of any lingering effects from your service. He takes in your stature and how you hold yourself and makes an assumption.
Roger is going to look at you with those same piercing eyes, and then the eyebrows going to go up a little bit, and he'll just say, "It's quite all right, Vicar. It's all part of the job."
Indeed. Well, they appear to have outstripped us, as it were. Let's nasty business this.
Indeed. Lady Merlane is equally a victim, if all things are considered, perhaps. Or she knew that her time was coming. Who knows? I am investigating that information myself.
I understand entirely. When last she and I had spoken, I was not speaking merely kind words to Master Merlane. She did seem of sound mind and, was always presented herself as an astute woman. Fiercely well-read. We had many intelligent conversations. It's just unfortunate.
By contrast to the description being given to you now, you were given a description of the woman that you are investigating before you made it to this town. They told you the visage of a gaunt, thin woman, ribs showing through her skin, with hair frazzled and pointing in many different directions, unwashed, and many, many symbols carved into her arms and legs. She looked almost tinged green around the edges of her face. And when her body was retrieved, it was deemed too grotesque a scene for anyone to see outside of the investigation. You have not yet decided whether you wish to show those pictures you have on your person to the vicar. And at this point, you can make your own choices.
Cadogan will just keep his information to himself. This is a fairly confidential investigation. He is aware of what the body looks like, and having spoken with the vicar a few times, the vicar does know a little bit of what Cadogan is there for. But overall, I am here to shadow you, sir.
Indeed. Let's be about it then. And carries on.
As you make your way to the front gate of Widow Peak Manor, the lifelong home of the Merlanes and long-standing historical site within this town, you are faced with a white gabled fence and a tall 2-story building, Victorian in style, a pale robin's egg blue. It has intricate gingerbread style trim and ornate wrought iron railings. The house visage is a labyrinth of turrets, gables, and bay windows, each adorned with creeping ivy and stained glass, reflecting the faintest glimmer of light back at you. It is beautiful. The grounds are a cornucopia of flowers arranged in a seemingly endless array of configurations along the stone pathway. Around the edges of the building and around the sides, you can see a large conservatory in the back, and more flowers. Lady Merlane was known for her love of flowers within, and was be seen tending to her garden at all times. It seems that there are sections of the grounds that have been cleared away, and you recognize that it seems that some of her own flowers were used to adorn her funeral, in addition to those purchased elsewhere.
That may have been at my insistence. Apologies, but funerals are expensive.
I'm sure she would have appreciated it.
It's quite quaint.
Cole's eye is just running over the building like, okay, the water damage looks looks like they've kept it up. She's upgraded, which means there might not be so much left in the coffers, but then again, the resale value is just running numbers.
We often
Uh,
took tea in her garden.
Good tea set. Good. Like, was the seating all right? Would you say it was, fashionable?
Rattan, usually. Light to carry into the garden. And some wrought iron.
Good. Definitely good. Yes.
You come up to the front of the house, and you are able to take your key and pop it in there. It
Shrunk.
works as expected. And the door opens for you, and you are faced with a grand entryway. And for the benefit of my players, I'm going to pop you onto a different screen here. Are you guys in a wave of black here?
No, I can see.
Yep, vision's
Ah,
coming
no, I see.
as well.
Oh, then give me one moment. I'm just going to pop you back over there for a second.
Ah.
Just to be sure that you can only see what I want you to see.
I believe the phrase we're looking for here is, ignore the things behind the curtain.
Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain.
Just recently
Exactly.
been talking about with the kids the other day. Great film on great film.
I don't believe
Okay.
I've introduced myself. It's Peeler, policeman, detective.
I believe peelers are ladies of the night, Miss Stone.
Not where I'm from.
Oh my. And he puts his hands behind his back and looks at the ceiling.
I'm surprised, though, that our good Vicar is so familiar with such a term.
You must know your flock.
As you enter the building, you are in a grand entryway. There is a ornate blue rug on the floor with a large circular blood splatter staining an elaborate rug. As you look around you, it is a 2-story roof above you and a Juliet's balcony directly ahead of you. For all the world, it looks like the blood is perfectly as though somebody had leapt from the balcony above.
Cole looks at the room with just kind of a dispassionate air, just skims the rug, nods to himself, looks around, and then just kind of idly says over his shoulder, Vicar, the rug is yours, definitely. But, no, this is as I expected.
My
I
good
wouldn't-
man, did you... of course, your grief, and he puts a hand on your shoulder. As Mr. Whittleburn declared, the land holdings and all of the family heirlooms will remain with you. I will only distribute the liquid wealth from the lady's holdings out to the parish. She was quite fond of this rug and had it in her collection for many years. Should you need, I can show you how to cleanse it.
I
If
mean-
possible, if I don't mean to interrupt or interject, there's still more house, and this rug is
Clearly a
something
crack.
clearly something that we can walk around.
Indeed.
I will defer to your judgment, sound as it ever will be, sir.
As
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
as they're all talking, I am just casing the room like top to bottom. What's of value? Is there anything underneath the rug, hidden in the rug?
He's
Like,
just vibing through the room,
Yeah.
just
fluttering.
like, yeah, in that very it looks like I'm doing my job, but actually,
Maeve, roll me a spot hidden.
Absolutely.
That is a success. That's a very good spot hidden skill that you have there. Maeve, this rug is extremely, extremely soaked.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, it is still wet.
Pardon, detective. The lady's passing, of course. It happened quite a few days ago, did it not?
Indeed, and we might be standing on evidence.
Ooh, that's very unfortunate. Maeve is in the middle of the blood puddle, like.
It's like seeped into part.
The
It's
rug
like
is absolutely yours, Vic. I can't hold it against. I'm not going to
I
pay it.
wouldn't.
Yeah, clean.
Ms. Stone,
Yes, Vicar.
manners.
Oh, I am so sorry.
He grimaces at the whole business.
Will lift the hem of my dress up just a little bit, even though it doesn't do anything, and take the longest route possible out of the blood splatter.
from where you were down. I'm imagining her like down on her hands and
Oh,
knees,
yeah.
feeling it.
She probably tasted it a
You
little
have-
bit.
You now have blood tinging under your nail beds
Yeah.
as you pull it away.
More blood?
Oh, I promise that wasn't there before. And if it was from. Lycan loves to bring little mice into the house. I'm so sorry. It's such a mess dealing with them.
Lycan?
Oh, my cat. He mans the store when I'm out on acquisitions like this.
As in the moss?
Yes.
As opposed to the wolf?
Yes. It'd be quite silly if I were to name my cat after a wolf, Mr. Cole.
Yes, too silly. Yes. My
Come.
mistake.
It's okay. You're not of sound mind currently. You're grieving.
Indeed.
Right, the grief.
Let's find
Yeah.
this man a chair.
To your immediate left, there is a bench.
I am assuming I am plunked.
There is, so you are in the entryway of a
Sure.
great house. There is seating arranged in small little alcoves. This
And
manor
not a
is
mudroom, but like one of those entrances that's just.
exactly the mudroom is, if I can get my thing to work here. Can you see my cursor there?
Mhm.
Mudroom is just here.
I think my token might be jammed in a wall where I'm only getting half visibility, but I get the. Yeah.
Oh, here, let me bump you out of the wall. Give me one moment. That is likely to happen. I'm going to recommend that you guys not move your tokens where you think you want to go, and instead just ping me what you're doing.
Oh, yeah. Everything's coming across the narrative absolutely fine. I'm sure the
Yeah.
audience is easily following along here.
Yeah.
But,
But I want you to be able to see.
I think it's a general rule. Nobody should judge a campaign based on how well Roll20 behaves.
Truth. This is facts. So
Went down to the
the-
mudroom, waiting for the detective to. I'm giving the detective the. It's that look a dog gives when he's excited to get on the walk, but he knows everybody else has to do stuff, and he's just got to behave.
Sir, there's a dining room and a main sitting area with a fireplace further into the house. If you'd like to go over the documentation, we can maybe catalog whatever you're most comfortable with.
I can give the detective a moment to look. Definitely, we'll try not to touch. I'll keep my hands in my pockets. You can keep the papers in your hands, and we'll leave him for a moment to do that. We'll stay within shouting distance, sir. You have your fun with that rug that I swear I am not paying, and we are just going to wander in the next room while I half argue.
What's what's my sense of like Cole's mental state at this point? Is he holding everything together and just like trying to push through, or is he
You
just distraught?
I would like you to roll a psychology roll for
Okay.
that.
And might I oppose with the same?
Yes, you may.
Very good.
All right. So
You can.
opposed rolls.
So it's an opposed roll. So for those at home, you are each going to roll your skill. You're going to be rolling it against each other rather than against your own skill level.
Doing better margin here is the vicar.
I rolled a 97 on a 48.
That is.
And you rolled a
got
critical success.
I just literally rolled a 1.
On a D100.
I get uncomfortably close.
The vicar doesn't know this, but Cole has spent the last few years of his life getting by the skin of his teeth with powers and people far beyond his ken. He has survived the war. He has survived being a veteran. He has survived being destitute. Cole has survived being on the wrong side of every argument, political or otherwise, in the last war till now. There are communists, there are fascists, there are unionists, there are mafioso, there are mob, there are liberation army. There's everything under the sun between where Cole has been and now. And Cole has just managed to absolutely use all of that skill for the last 20 years to fleece a vicar into thinking he's just a wilting flower under the death of his great aunt. In fact, Cole is just here to get paid so nobody kills him in the next 6 months. However, the vicar absolutely thinks he needs to help out here.
This man is distraught and absolutely requires my constant attention and aid.
She was so loving, and her things will really bring relief to that whole situation. I'm not paying for that rug.
I excuse myself from the detective with a quiet, soft word and say, I'm just going to step to the kitchen and grab Mr. Merlane a cup. And I go and fix him a cup of tea because he obviously needs it. Being respectful not to disturb anything untoward and just being sober and sensible.
Biscuits from the cupboard will be fine. You don't need to make anything from scratch.
I do anyway.
You
need it.
You are overcome with the need to care for this man, to provide comfort to this man. What are you making him?
I'm literally boiling water, making a cup of tea, and finding some biscuits from a cupboard to put on a probably chipped up saucer.
Oh yeah. The vicar is all about the hand holding and the ritual as a content.
It's very much like I'm going through the motions that I'm supposed to go through to make sure that he has his needs seen to.
Roll me a spot hidden.
A which, sorry?
Spot hidden.
Absolutely.
One of our skills.
Failure. That's a 41 on a 35.
All right. You boil the water. You are able to find, there's a beautiful collection of teacups that are lined along the edge of a window with matching teacups and saucers. Each seeming to depict a different floral design. And you pick one out specifically for Cole and make up a proper cup of tea before bringing in some digestive biscuits and tea.
Did Lady Merlane, whether it's probably in the sitting room, but in the kitchen, did she keep a flask or a bottle of brandy or something like that? That her housemaid would have put
Pop
something to?
There is a shelf with a assortment of glass bottles with some amber and otherwise liquids.
I fortify the man's teacup and bring it to him.
Okay.
And don't worry, Mr. Cole. All things pass, items, people, possessions, suffering.
Spooky ass peanut gallery.
Mm,
Cadigan, what are you doing right now?
He's casing the room. He saw the blood right away. He saw the balcony. He's probably going to go straight upstairs after just looking at all of the rooms on the
Okay.
main floor. Like he'll use the main floor last, but he's going
Mhm.
to scope to the second story right away.
For sure. For players, second floor is, can you see the second floor on the scroll down? I'm using Fog of War and I'm
No,
new.
I cannot see a second story map.
Okay,
No,
give me a second. I will show you the second story. There
Now
is
I
the
can see
second
it.
story. Okay,
Beautiful.
Cadigan, let's talk about you for a minute here. So, you're casing the joint, and you're looking around for clues. There's got to be something here that is going to help crack this case open. This is your chance. So you take a close look at that blood and you go, looks, the splatter is so big. There was, but this much blood, there were no, like she had marks all over her skin, but there was no stab wounds. She wasn't bled out. Why is there so much blood here? You go, you ignore the tapestries on the walls, you pass by a what looks to be a library to your right, the dining room to your left. You go up the ornate staircase to the second floor, where there are a number of rooms with closed doors. And as you go off the staircase and around the hallway, at the end of the hallway is a balcony, which when you stand at the end of that balcony, with its wrought iron railing, and you look down, you are perfectly above the center of that blood splatter below.
He will see me waving up to him and go, hey. And then he's going to look at the ceiling, and then he's going to look at basically everywhere in the surroundings before looking to see where all the doors are that are currently closed. But he's looking for any similar markings that he would have found on Lady Marlene with the pictures.
Okay. So where would you like to start?
The most obvious place first, and then move out.
There are all closed doors. I would like you to use your pointer and roll 20 to let me know which room you would like to open the door to. Okay, so these are the stairs. Oh, so we have the stairs, and you are currently standing at this balcony on this end.
They will open the door to their left.
So I think you can actually see all the rooms that
Okay.
I've got here. You're all good.
Okay.
Sorry,
Okay.
I'm. By the way, guys, you can see all the rooms. We're gonna.
Great.
You got a blueprint, basically.
They'll thank you. They'll go to the first room to the right and just around room to
That you are really quiet for some reason.
Oh.
You
Am
cut
I?
off there for a second.
hold
Try
on.
again.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
I can.
Okay, perfect.
Okay.
So
This door is locked.
they'll try the key that they used to enter the door to see if it's a skeleton key.
You put the lock in. You made it around a little bit, and it does not open this door.
He will go, I see. Okay. And he's going to look at the key and he'll pocket it inside. He will clock that information in his head before pacing around here, specifically near the balcony.
Sure.
Any exterior markings, like
Okay.
scratches on the wall, carvings that match the description of the woman, like anything at all.
Okay. You are looking around, and the carpet in front of you. I want you to roll for me on the carpet. Let's take a look here. You know what? That's okay. I'm not going to make you roll for the carpet. Still getting used to all the skills in Call of Cthulhu. I'm like, what do I get to roll for? I like rolling. It adds fun to it. But this particular rug is worn as though somebody has paced back and forth down the center of this hallway, walking up to the balcony and back to the stairwell, back and forth, to the point where there is a path worn into this very nice rug. There's no markings that match what you would have expected. There's no blood up here. But this path has obviously been walked a lot. As compared to the rugs that you saw on the main floor, there's no similar signs of wear. You would have expected, if that was similar wear, that all the rugs in the house would have similar amounts of wear and tear. This rug specifically has a lot of wear going back and forth to that balcony.
Okay. Cadigan will then proceed to see if any of the other rooms, like this room, whether it's
Mhm.
open, and just see if that's open, just to see if that was just the one room that was.
For sure. This first room that you have on the right-hand side is a music room. You open it up to see a mini grand piano and a plethora of other instruments lining around the room. The piano itself is closed. The top of it is closed over the keys. And it appears to be filled with the workings of someone who greatly enjoyed music.
He's also going to check out this room up top here.
Okay.
Um,
That room
Yeah.
also opens.
okay.
That is the master chambers, Lady Merlane's room. Guys, the detective is wandering around upstairs, opening all the doors.
From downstairs, we find the vicar leaning closely over Master Merlane, saying, "Therefore, every scribe who has been trained for the kingdom of heaven is like a householder who brings out the treasury of what is new and what is old."
Vicar, please, I'm half in the bag from whatever you've given me in this teacup already. I think I'm calm. Is that the detective just kind of traipsing around upstairs right now?
I believe he is about his work, yes.
Okay, because we should keep an eye on him, because we should be near that, right?
Sir, do you distrust a man of the law?
No, but we should make ourselves available. You know?
He serves the laws of man, and whoever
Yeah,
serves me must follow me. And where I am, there will be my
gonna go
servant
help.
also. And he's just laying it on thick.
I'm sure I just get hovered bombed by this man as I wander. How drunk?
I
We need to baseline this. What
Sure.
was I served?
Let's baseline
I put a
this.
small splash of brandy in your teacup with your tea.
Okay. So
like I didn't.
My sinuses are clear. I'm not bombed. Okay.
Yeah,
It's not.
yeah.
It wasn't like the absinthe.
Yeah, it's brandy.
It was a
fine.
hard snoot, but good.
Yeah.
All right.
It's 80 proof.
We're gonna make sure that bottle
my
stays
God.
closed so we can celebrate with it later. Sell it maybe, but Come on.
Yeah.
Let's make sure he's not getting like footprints on the good carpet or something up there. Come on.
Hmm.
Where the hell did she go? And I'm just kind of looking.
You see
for,
her being
like,
a spider on the
wild
ceiling.
Yeah.
of a dead twin area nearby.
Yeah, I'm investigating the chandelier by sticking to the ceiling and reaching down to investigate it. No.
Hey, get a broomstick.
No.
I'm sure she
Where
has
are
a
you?
bad eye,
Yeah,
keenly on the
after
weird designs in the space.
consoling Master Cole as he originally sat down in the kitchen, I returned to the carpet at the front, and for the last 5 minutes or so, I have been taking my finger and, like, if I draw it through the carpet, does it leave a little indent or like a little trace in the liquid?
Oh, it's
Yes.
Yeah, then I've spent the last 5 minutes just tracing different symbols and seeing if there's one that sticks more than the other ones do. Just because,
and you wondered why I thought we needed to be nearby.
The vicar walks up behind as you're doing this.
Vicar,
Not stopping you.
are you
just
done with your
watching.
tea?
Just
All right.
providing that social pressure of the fuck are you doing?
Yeah. I definitely stop before the vicar can actually see anything that I'm tracing in any detail.
Mhm.
For my own purposes, I am definitely just investigating this carpet and this blood splotch for any sort of occult messings, basically.
Yep. You can roll me a occult.
This woman is so specifically shady in all the ways I need her to be, but she's on the razor's edge of whether or not I trust it.
Exactly where I want to be.
That is a success. This rug does not respond to your markings, but you do find it peculiar how every time you run your fingers over the blood, it soaks into the hem of your cardigan. It soaks under your fingernails. And when you move your fingers away from it, the tracings that you've put into it fill back up.
Oh, interesting.
Is there a chance to actually see what she's doing as we're walking up, as she's looking at this? See the movements she's making with her hands? Understand what it is?
Since she had said she was going to hide it, I'm going to have you guys do an opposed skill on that because she's trying to hide it from you.
Could I oppose her occult with my occult?
Or would it be a spot hidden versus stealth?
I think in this case we're not. If you're working together on the occult, but I guess make me an argument for it. Do you recognize that what she's doing is occult, or is she just stooping over a rug, making
I'm stooped
motions?
over.
So
I'm in loose gowns and a long flowing cardigan.
The vicar has occult 90 and has
I have a very high skill. I really want to roll under it.
Has a really, really good understanding of how to interact with hoodoo.
Oh my god, he's like straight up. This is the most trained occult vicar that's ever existed.
Look, I have a very particular set of skills, and I work for the church in a very specific way.
Oh no!
All right, I tell you what, I want a stealth from Maeve. I want a spot hidden, and I want an occult.
Okay.
From the vicar.
All right. Spot hidden is a hard success, 14 to a 35.
I failed my stealth.
Okay. And your occult?
And my occult roll is a 65 to a 90, so it's a success.
All right. Okay. You were unable to hide what you were doing, and the vicar both recognizes what you were doing and how you were going about it. On a spot hidden of a hard success, you also notice that the blood keeps filling.
and that, it's not coming from her or
Yeah.
because of her.
I want to say, because of the rolls, like, come up behind you in an almost eerie way and get, like, creepily close over your shoulder and say, it's almost like it's coming up from groundwater or a spring, and just, like, whisper it half into your ear.
One would assume so. And she turns to look at you, but it's not a body turn. It's just a head turn, and it's just a little bit farther than you think a normal person should be able to turn their head.
Detective, have you found anything up there? Because I think we might have found each other down here.
Perhaps we should go and meet the detective and see him about his work.
Yes.
I received word that maybe some things would be amiss and in need of
I assumed it was a
the
closed
church.
because of some undue wound. Would you say she fell far or hard?
Yes.
It's a lot of blood
Cadigan-
for a human being. And he turns and he walks towards Cadigan, or up the stairs.
To the
Cadi-
stairs.
Cadigan's in the room, just looking right now at the messy room.
Probably see us from above.
Heard the noises. Could I have heard all of them talking like that?
Roll me a listen check. We'll see how much echoey situation we have going on with these, because you won't have heard you exactly match your listen.
Yep.
So from that, I'm going to say you can hear the conversation as they're walking towards the end. So you're at one end of the house and they're at the other end of the house down the stairs. You can hear conversation that they're talking about in the hallway as it's echoing. You won't have heard the exact interchange between the two of them crouched over the carpet, but otherwise you've heard them kind of muttering through.
The vicar was very soft in what he was saying to Maeve to try and make sure even Cole didn't hear.
You've been exploring, so they're on their way to you.
Yeah.
Just to confirm, are we all on our way to the upper stairs?
I believe so.
All right. You make your way upstairs, and in the time that you have been up here on your own, detective, you have seen a very miskept room. Very unusual compared to the rest of the house, where everything seems to be pretty well put together. But similar to many other rooms of the house, there are flowers adorning almost everything. There's florals on the bedding. There are florals on the paintings. There are dried florals decorating all of the room. And you have done your best not to disturb anything that might be evidence, but it's becoming shockingly clear to you that this is not a room much was done in other than sleeping. In your time in the upstairs, you were also able to explore into the guest chambers that you found over to the side, as well as the water closet, which is not on this map, but you will understand there is a water closet that you were able to explore.
And or utilize.
And so far have not come up with any symbols. You really thought that when you went to dig through her nightstand, you might have found something of use. But the Bible in it looked just normal.
He's going to look around actually and see if there's a key or some sort of like hidden latch or anything. He's going to casually tap with his walking stick just once in a while, just tapping floorboards, things like that, just checking things out.
Great.
And then try to remember, like, based on what happened, information.
Absolutely.
All I've heard from downstairs has been a series of rapping and banging and maybe holes in the plaster. Damn it.
You can roll me a spot hidden.
Match again.
Wow.
Spicy dice had a roll 20 tonight.
Yep.
Okay.
Hmm.
Also, I don't feel like we have any music playing.
We do.
Oh, we do. It's just very quiet.
There's a
Not-
faint.
It's not nearly
Music
spooky enough
noise.
for what I'm aiming for.
Oh,
Like-
shit.
There, we'll just. Here we go. That makes me happier.
Enemies is growing.
That makes me happier. So, 61. That's a success for you. Inside a decorative pillow in the middle of her bed, you find a brass key. And just as you find it and you start looking at it, you hear plump, 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 plump as all of your friends join you.
Found anything? I hear investigation.
Cadigan is going to look at Master Merlane and he will look towards you. Now, I personally don't know how you feel about this. There is one room at the end of this hall closest to the balcony that is completely locked. There is a brass key on this particular pillow. As you hold the deed to this matter, and most of these things are yours.
You
Well,
have
this
my
key is
permission to
yours.
investigate, sir. Please do go on. I wish to know as much as you need to know.
They will collect the brass key and hobble towards the room that was locked.
Really playing up at me, I gotta say.
Yes. Do you need something for that?
We found port.
Brandy.
Yeah,
If
whatever.
you notice the rug, gentlemen's and thems of all sorts,
It's placed.
there is a marked rubbing on the carpet, as if someone was pacing through. Now, I figure I would take a look around and do my investigation, if you don't mind. Takes the brass key and unlocks the one door.
Carpet is just so expensive. I'd have to take this down to hardwood.
The door swings inward into a pitch black room. You feel around and flip a light. And what you face is chaos. There is writing over every surface of this room. The walls, the roof, the floor. Papers are scattered across every flat surface, and strings have been pinned across the walls. The
Now
red
this-
The red on the wall seems to be dripping before it dries.
This is where we find our value, Mr. Cole. Let's see.
What kind of avant-garde bullshit is this?
Art.
John looks at the room and says, "Victoria," and just like mutters to himself a little bit.
What, like the queen?
If only, Mr. Cole. You see, the Vicar here has quite tangible strings on him.
Why is everyone so weird?
I
It
Would
comes with
have-
the business.
there's a look when Cole says this. If he looks over towards the detective, where it's almost like he's agreeing very momentarily with Cole, but he doesn't say anything.
Like, we just
Um,
vibe just on that moment of, who the hell are we here with?
The vicar like collects himself, and again, hand on Cole's shoulder. "You needn't see this, sir. This is evidence of perhaps your aunt's failing health in her last times. I've witnessed these things before at the sanitarium.
Vicar, you were adamant at a meeting not half today ago that she was of sound mind up to her death.
When I last spoke with her, she absolutely was. This was 3-4 months ago. She hasn't been to service.
I see. So would you say that you were remiss in your upkeep of my aunt's well-being?
God has a plan for everyone, and sometimes puts trials before them that I can't force my help on anyone, sir.
The vicar hands back in his memory to the last time he saw the Lady Merlane 2 weeks ago. With her hair askew, rambling oddities, cloaked in a shawl and a dressing gown, walking through her gardens as he made his way to the parish.
Mm-hmm.
He had tried to engage her in conversation, and she glanced up at him, muttered and shook her head, and continued on her path around the house.
Yeah. He has fond memories of speaking with an astute woman in her garden for several years, on all subjects of theology, esoteric and otherwise. Age ravages everyone, though. Yeah.
There is a room in front of you. What would you like to do?
I am psychoanalyzing this room, looking for any patterns whatsoever.
All right, roll me a psychoanalyze.
Mind palace.
Tell me mind things. That is a failure.
I'm poking and prodding through, just trying to assess how bad the damage is to the underlying hardwood. I mean, this is on an entirely surface level skim, because I mean, I know what crazy looks like. And this is bad shit stuff.
All right. What would you like to do, Maeve?
Mr. Viker, Master Cole can make his own decisions, and I hate to intrude, but we want him to see. And Maeve will turn to the room and just start following lines, and like very much the detective is going about this in a very like mind palace, what's the suspect, like logic breakdown. Maeve is tumbling down this slippery slope that the late lady probably fell down to see where she landed.
Are you seeing if the schnozberries taste like schnozberries?
You're vibe checking the crazy house now.
The vicar is glancing about the room, and you tell me, given his set of skills, the language or symbols that I'm seeing, is it a basis in something that I know?
Okay. We're going to handle these one at a time because we're all doing 3 very different things.
Yep.
Unfortunately, Cadigan, you are not able to make head or tails of the logic behind anything going on in this room. Maeve, I would like you to roll me a cult.
This does at least mean the detective has a solid clue against the condition of the victim.
There is, in fact, that is a good point. There is no, for you, Cadigan, there is no indication of sanity in this room. Maeve, you are following a trail. Words and symbols repeated over and over and over as you follow the line.
How
Repeated
clever.
words that you cannot read. However, the Viker, who's going to roll me a skill check of library use, I guess, is what we're going to go with.
Sure. When I was thinking languages, I instinctively went Latin because I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, all sorts of crazy old-timey crap.
I
yep.
also have Latin and Gaelic.
I like it.
Okay.
That's a failure on library use. I'm not making heads or tails of what's written and why.
Okay. With you knowing Latin, Maeve, you can pick out the word find and the word book. Everything else is written in a script you are unable to read. At library use, unfortunately, Vicar, you aren't able to pick up anything else. But Maeve is getting increasingly excited as she follows across the room. And
Sorry to interrupt.
It's all good.
Cadigan, while Maeve is doing this, is actually going to take a step back and watch Maeve.
The last person, I'll let you do yours in just a you go ahead, Maeve. Do yours for a second.
I'm just gonna say, like, Cadigan's probably watching as Maeve just circles the room over and over. I'm assuming anyway that the patterns are very spirally.
It's circular. It never stops. Once you follow it for a solid 5 minutes, you end up back at the beginning of your path, and you continue to go around in a circle.
Round and around and round we go.
Melissa?
Where we stop,
Yeah.
nobody knows.
Maeve is Eula.
Yes.
For
yes,
all
she
intents
is.
and purposes
love
from our
it
primary
so much.
campaign, that's our
Love it.
warlock Eula.
Yeah.
Oh, crazy's infectious.
Cole.
I play warlocks in all the TTRPGs. Doesn't matter which one it is.
Cole, you're looking for value. You're shuffling
Salvage.
papers away, trying to see what you can find. And as you pick up a random stack of papers that have been scribbled over with these markings,
Oh, it was a first edition before this. No.
your hand touches something that you pull up to look at. And I would like you to open your box.
Oh no.
Why is it made of
Cole's
meat?
hand
But also, oh
picks
yes.
up the book, Maeve stops dead in her tracks, as if like a string on a spider's web has been pulled.
We can't hear you. Oh, you're not. Cole has found a walkie-talkie. You want to show that to the audience here again?
Vintage style, analog, personal radio. A walkie
so cool.
talkie.
They are very new, having only been invented a few years, the year prior, in fact.
Motorola.
Yeah, and kudos goes out to Riley for having made that from scratch, because
detail is exquisite.
it's really amazing. So for those playing
And
at home,
ominous as hell.
for all those playing at home, our wonderful band of investigators each have a box in their possession with some things to help us along with the story.
See, I got waffles.
Why the devil would my aunt have an army raid?
Well, lots of people have lots of different things at different times.
Something clicks for you, Maeve, and you start going back through your circle before you find in the back corner of the room a little drawn picture of the radio. that sends you back on the circle. Find book, find book. Around and around and around. And as you get more and more excited and the energy starts to build in the room, Cole, you're looking at this thing. It looks in really good condition. It looks like it might work.
I switch it on.
You're welcome to everybody in the audience.
What happened?
Static
Oh my
hits your
goodness.
ears. Loud.
Joe,
great.
what is that? Is
I
that
put down the receiver and speak. Hello? Check. Check 1, 2. Are you receiving me?
It's right up to your ear in the style that this is made in. And I would like you to roll a sanity.
Yay!
We're going to do a plain sanity roll this time, as it's our first time having to roll this. So that is a failure. Would you like to use your luck to succeed? All right.
Attaboy.
That's not how Cole's life has gone.
Okay. So we have failed a sanity roll. So then to determine how many sanity points you lose, I have to do a different thing that I apparently lost my notes for, that I don't remember how I handle sanity points now.
Suffice it to say that I failed to roll under my sanity, and therefore it was going lower now.
You are going to be losing sanity to this.
Most likely earning myself a new quirky habit or delusion about the universe and how it operates.
Exactly. Give me one moment.
For those of you playing Hongit, that's the bread and butter of Cthulhu. I am not better for having encountered
So,
this.
Melissa,
Yeah.
just for aid, normally if you make your sanity check, you don't necessarily lose any. And
right.
if you fail, you roll a d6 or a d8 or a d10 or
Thank you. It took me
however hard it's going to be.
I knew there was a reason I had this thing written down next to. I'm like, sorry everybody, I cut out caffeine and now my brain only works at like 30% its normal capacity. Roll me a d8.
Withdraw do that to you.
Oh. So you have lost 8 points of sanity, my friend. So I need you to actually edit. So what you do is in your character sheet, you're actually able to edit it and bring down your sanity.
Oh no.
Ignore that.
And
I didn't mean to click
it's
that.
all good. So you have lost quite a significant amount of sanity. I need you to roll me a d10. So fun. A d10. Any 10. A 9.
Oh my fucking god. I'm not doing well tonight, folks.
You have developed a new phobia. You have a fear of heights. It is, for the purposes of this game, permanent.
What have I heard in response to my call into the darkness with this radio? What has struck me so?
There is, at first there's just static. And then a small sound. And a voice that says, you have to find the book. You have to find it now. You have to help us. and then it goes silent, and then back to the static again.
And in that deep rush of whatever eldritch otherworldly visitation that was, I'm sure the shock in my brain is like coming up from a massive distance. Vertigo, nausea, dizziness. I drop the radio to the floor, probably clatter. I am bracing myself against the wall and dry heaving. What
It's
is
okay.
the fuck is going on here?
The
Just
vicar
breathe, Mr. Cole.
leans into Detective Cadigan and says, "It's so hard dealing with the loss of a loved one," and puts an arm around his shoulders and turns him from the room.
And with a new fear lodged deep in his heart and a direction from an faceless voice, we're going to go to break.
I like it.
And we will be back in, we're going to call it 8:05. We'll come back
Sounds good.
and we'll pick it up.
Our break scene is going to be very jaunty and a much different tone than what we're dealing with, because I forgot to change it from the magical girl scene from last time.
Phenomenal.
8:05.
Technical difficulties.
8:05. We will be back.
Sounds good.
See you all soon.
One. Hello.
Welcome back,
Hi.
investigators. When last we left our humans, they walked into a room of
Humans.
chaos. The walls covered in symbols and Latin text proclaiming that you should find a book. Detective, I will tell you, because I realized I didn't tell you before, that some of the symbols that were carved on that woman's body are absolutely all over the walls of this room. The family of the deceased picked up an artifact, said, "Oh, this looks neat," and decided to turn it on. And heard a voice saying to help us and find the book. And proceeded to lose the maximum amount of sanity that he possibly could from that, because this man has had a hard life and he is like,
Visibly rocked.
he is
Just
like,
not taking it well. Just lost my shit for a good solid minute here. I'm gonna need to walk it off down the stairs with the vicar. Mostly the vicar doing the walking.
Indeed. He is
No.
he is a solid slab of meat that is probably propping you up pretty well.
You're a good vicar.
Tea.
Tea.
I must confess I wasn't completely honest with you, sir.
Why?
When last I spoke with your aunt, she was in good health. Her health has been failing as of late, and when last I beheld her, she was frail, much smaller than she was in her prime, and wouldn't acknowledge or give me the time of day.
Well, I'm so sorry she offended you, but also, why didn't you warn anyone? Or seek to get her some proper help that she's so
did.
visibly required?
We had words with her staff, what had remained, to make sure that they had the aid of the church if they had need of it. They thanked us. We sent some meals collected through the town up for your aunt, but again, it is the nature of man to make choices for themselves. Oh,
can you
try that
start
again,
talking
Ken?
No. Okay, try again.
Seems to be a neat and tidy bow of a problem.
Mm-hmm. That
Dead
track, Melissa, I think overlaps with Ken's timbre perfectly and drowns him out.
Okay, let's put on a different one.
Yes, 100%.
Try
Players
talking
operate on the same
now.
frequencies.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, this one. Okay, so we're not using abandoned chapel.
Yeah.
Noted.
Wrong
Very
emphasis on the wrong syllable.
Yep. People operate.
But
Okay.
how old was Lady Merlane at the time of her passing, Keeper?
She was 78 years old.
All right, so in the grand old years of the
she was
1930s.
my great aunt.
Yeah.
And I'm 30 something.
Oh,
Late
I'm
30s.
40. You're a wizened, grizzled, gray-haired man for 30 something. I have to say,
Yeah.
you've
I
seen
don't-
some shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. I lead Cole downstairs and leave Miss Stone and the detective together in the crazy room,
Please gather clues or succumb to the madness. The radio's on the floor.
or both.
The radio's on the floor.
Oh yeah, I dropped the goddamn thing.
All right, the radio is on
Just
the
gonna-
floor.
Pick that up.
Okay.
It gets tucked into the cardigan, making no indent in any pocket anywhere, somehow.
Did I see that happen?
I'm going to say there's...
No.
Okay, I'm going to have you roll a hard hide on that and a straightforward sight on that, because she's in a room with you on something that got dropped. But if you can roll it, you can have it.
Hard stealth.
Yep. Nope.
Okay. So it's in your pocket, but she definitely saw you, or he definitely saw you.
Yeah, that's fair. Now,
Like
Mr.
making
Detective,
eye contact while putting it away.
Yeah. Now, Mr. Detective, it's important for the appraising process to understand a little bit about the passing of the previous owner. As I'm sure you're aware, unfortunate demise, violent acquisition, and such can greatly affect the price of any given product. It'd be very helpful to me in my duties here to understand a little bit more about our late lady.
Well, I'm not sure what the placing of evidence in your cardigan will yield in terms of value, as
Oh,
it is evidence. But
this silly
I
old
will
thing.
presume that this particular item is modern and not antiquities, as you are most. He sniffs at that.
Which means it belongs to the vicar.
I will bypass, as you seem to know what you are doing. Although, for such modern technology, I thought it's not exactly an antiquity, is it?
You see, antiquity is
Marking.
such a broad term. Everything has a collector, everything has a price. And although, yes, I usually deal with things much, much older, this item, whatever you may call it, has attachments, a web, a string, and it has places it needs to be.
Like in our lockup, as it is evidence.
Sure.
I will take a step back away from your eccentricities for a moment and answer your question previously asked. The markings on this wall, there may
Yes.
be some use for them. Do you understand them?
I definitely think I have the capacity to understand them.
What do they say or mean?
I think they mean... Well, they meant whatever she needed them to. And whatever they needed them to.
Cadigan is going to casually look at one of the symbols on the ground that looks familiar to the markings on the body without giving away that he's seen them before. He's just going to casually point with his walking stick. What does this say?
Roll me an occult.
Me? For
Yeah,
sure.
please. That's a success. Pretty good success, actually.
Most of my occult rolls have been pretty good successes.
Yeah, happens when you... Honestly, you guys having 75 and 90 is like a cheat code in Call of Cthulhu, I swear. But
I'm terrible at everything else.
I'm aware. Which is why you're making the tea. Sorry, I digress. This symbol on the ground, it is a rounded symbol with the shape of a mirror in it. And while you cannot place it in terms of what its exact meaning might be, you do note that it is also repeated over and over again throughout this room, along with a series of others, but this one in particular that he is pointing at is appears to be some sort of symbol relating to a mirror.
My question to you, detective, is of course, this room is covered in symbols. What does this one mean to you? It's odd to pick this specific one out when there's some there and there and there and she reaches one of her very long bony arms out and just taps one of the lapels of your suit and she goes, and there.
This one seems familiar to me. Entertain me a little bit about these markings.
Well, the one you've picked out is depicting a mirror. Mirrors, of course, as we all know, are tools used for reflection, or in the case of certain childhood fairy tales, is a gate of sorts through the looking glass and all that, dear detective.
Cadigan is going to give you like a furrowed look for a moment, just a moment, before it goes, a mirror, hey? He's going to take out the flask, his silver steel flask, for a moment, shine it out, kind of drink it up a little bit, glance at it, look at the door, and he's going to walk straight down to the balcony. And he's going to just reach out with the hand like he's leaning on his hobble stick for a moment and just kind of taking the flask that is in his hand. He's going to start trying to find like a light source or something, and sort of like in Indiana Jones where you've got like a glass mirror, you're pointing it towards a light direction. Shine it somewhere within that blood puddle.
Okay. It's been a few hours, and the mid-afternoon sun is shining through the stained glass that lines the front of this house. And you are able to catch a blue-tinted ray of light on the edge of your flask and shine it down on the ruined carpet below you. And you're a full story and a half up from this. It's quite high where you're standing from here, but as you kind of draw shapes in haphazardly pointing light at this carpet, nothing appears to happen.
Interesting.
Very...
Down below, the vicar has started a fire in the study, the drawing room. Like burning this place to the ground immediately.
Yeah, just burning the whole house down.
It's gone. We're
Mystery
done.
solved.
As
Sucker down.
Hit the tinderbox is starting something. With his permission, has put Cole into one of those big squishy armchairs, sitting there, and hearing the like mutterings upstairs. It's like, you seem awfully shaken after having that telephone device turn on.
It was a voice.
You hold yourself.
There shouldn't be a voice, but there was a voice.
You were in the war? Your shoulders, you straighten your back the same way the detective does sometimes.
Habit. Drill sergeants, they get to you.
Perhaps a bad memory drawn up. That it looked like a piece of military equipment.
It did. It didn't behave like one would expect.
Sir, there are no military outposts anywhere close.
Oh no,
here.
no. My great aunt didn't serve.
No,
That wasn't my radio either. Was it your radio? His radio?
there was nobody on the other end.
Sure.
There's no one within miles using any kind of military.
Cole's a bundle of nervous energy and is kind of just wandering the study.
Yeah.
Pulling books off, looking at the spine, putting it down, pulling off a book, looking at the spine, putting it down.
The
Clicking
great
through
Gatsby.
things,
Like,
touching
beautiful.
everything.
Vicar, you're getting the fire ready.
Mm-hmm.
You have to clear out the soot first to make room for the new fire.
Mm-hmm. Scoop.
Roll me a
in,
spot hidden.
Sure. Putting it into a bin. 96 failure.
That is an epic failure.
Yep.
The man's just inhaling all sorts of horrifying
You
smells.
start a fire,
Mm-hmm.
and you hear a piercing scream fill the room as soon as the fire lights.
I like.
We share a look. Yeah,
It's
not me.
And-
It's not me.
Is there
You-
a woolen throw or something about here, like maybe on one of the squishy chairs?
Like a rug or an asbestos pole or something?
Yes.
Like just
There is a blanket thrown over one of the sides of a chair near you.
the first thing that, because it's the 1930s in England, the vicar thinks of is there is a small orphaned chimney sweep in that, and the wool goes on the fire to douse it immediately.
He thinks he's murdered an orphan immediately.
Fire pits don't
You-
scream at you.
No, I love the logic.
You put out the fire. You pat it out.
I'm looking up the chimney and just like around, and it's like, hello?
Coughing and waving smoke out of my
You
face.
look in the chimney. There's soot everywhere. You're absolutely covered. You look up. There's nothing above you.
Down in the ashes? Is there a small child?
You dip your hands into the ashes and start pulling it away. Detective, can you open your box, please?
Did us upstairs, did we hear the scream as well?
Yes.
Piercing wail.
Pardon, detective. It appears I left one of my books downstairs.
Did that box say baby on it?
Is it a whole baby? It's a whole baby.
It's a
Hold it
baby.
up, share with the class.
Is it a Shrek baby?
Oh, I am so glad that wasn't my box.
And you get to keep it
Forever.
forever
You have to
and
keep it.
ever.
We can't
and
hear
Those things
you.
are-
We can't hear you. You're on push to talk.
It's so sad. We can't hear you.
And yes, the box says baby because
And puts it back in the box and puts it away.
push to talk, push to talk. I want to hear you. Push to talk.
Is that what John sees in the ash?
Yes. A pristine, faultless porcelain doll with curled brown hair and a blue and white dress, dark brown eyes looking at you.
For prop's sake.
Ooh.
Yeah, it looks just like that.
Master Merlane, I seem to have stumbled upon one of your family heirlooms. And he walks over and presses it into your hands.
I'm going to make the authored choice of saying that is one of the church's relics.
Vicar, roll me a sanity roll.
Okay.
Come on.
Hard success. 26
Good
versus 80.
Lord, that would have passed on mine.
You do not.
No, it wouldn't have. That's a 26.
Yeah, well, give me the benefit of the doubt.
You are absolutely fine. Everybody finds perfectly preserved. This does not spook you. You are prepared for this. This is okay.
I'm a little perturbed that there was a scream, but I have heard of like music boxes exist, and I've seen dolls that have the little key in the back. This is senseless.
The other two, you come running down. You heard a piercing scream.
I
You-
am walking and I am keeping the detective from running. He is trapped behind me.
I restart the fire.
Without the doll in it this time?
That remains to be seen.
All right. You come into the study and you are trying to figure out what happened. And Cole, you could just swear that you can hear music faintly playing as Maeve enters the room.
Master Cole. I'm sorry. Does something seem to be
Did you hear that?
awry?
Good heavens.
Did I
what
hear
happened?
that?
No one but Cole hears any music.
Did anyone else hear that? Just
I heard a scream. Are you
Yes.
all right?
Something screamed when I went to light the fire. There's some sort of music box apparatus inside this doll. I don't know why you would make a screaming doll. That seems terrifying for children.
I think it's possibly just broken, Vicar.
The detective will look at the doll and say, more evidence.
No.
And
And hold up the doll. Investigate the doll.
Well,
Look at
no.
it. Please,
No.
look at it.
no, thank you.
it
No.
did not pass the vibe check on the first pass.
No. No, thank you. We
Ugh.
got rid of all of our dolls. I'll give it to my mom.
You're going to wake up one day and just find it waiting on your pillow.
Okay, you know what? They're creepy. They're really creepy. We used to have, anyway, I'll tell the story later, but we used to have dolls like this at home. One of them had like a cracked face and was still intact.
Nope.
And so,
Yep.
yeah, no,
A big old
we're gonna
nope
move
situation?
forward. We're
Yeah.
just gonna move forward because it's kind of
Moving right along.
Can I make it really
No.
clear that I want none of these back?
Move it right along.
They're going
What
on
did you
your
put in my
guys.
waffles?
I am terrified to understand what comes out of the waffle box now.
Right?
All right. So, just to set us back into the scene, there was screaming from the fire, and Cole is staring at this doll that is in his hand,
Just
hearing very faint music ongoing that does match the music that was playing just before you heard that voice.
I'm going to try and start the fire again and just get things going because we're getting later into the day. It's cold and wet in Portsmouth, and pull the smoldering woolen like Afghan out of the fire. And
Oh, look, another antiquity that cannot be sold. Another
Something else
ruined
for the
piece
church.
of fabric.
church bin.
that goes in the church.
The fire lights and a warm, bright fire fills the space. No screaming.
No screaming. It must have been something inside that antique doll.
Cole is shaken, but firmly standing, solid ground, surrounded by people who can allies. Cole thinks to himself, I'm good at following a lead. I can pick them. I've picked winners. I have always picked good winners. Cole is going to close his eyes, hold on to that doll, listen, and if the impulse takes him, he's going to take a step where it leads.
Cole? Sorry, I'm going to give you a second. Maeve, if you have something you'd like to say.
Cole
I-
looks like he's kind of going into a dark spot.
And so the threads are pulled. And Maeve will just watch and follow whatever Mr. Cole does.
Cadigan,
Cool.
you
Oh, go
see
ahead.
a look go across Cadigan's face as he looks towards the vicar, looking towards Cole, and will say, Vicar, if you don't mind, I'm not a praying man. But now feels like a good time for me to ask you, do you happen to have a rosary on your person?
Don't bother.
He immediately goes to a satchel hidden under his long vestments every day. Like, it's the sternest look on his face that you've ever seen. He's a reasonably serious man, and for the first time you see him with a stern look.
Cadigan is going to sit for the first time today in the chair and will watch.
One comfy moment.
Just will watch the two individuals, and he's going to clock and see if there's any floral designs in the room.
There are flowers on on either side of the giant mantle. The whole mantle edge is etched in or carved floral designs. The portrait of the late Lady Merlane and her husband, gargantuan in size above the mantle. They appear to be standing very, very formally. However, around them are pots of flowers all around them. The chairs that you're in are a deep purple velvet, and they have color on color florals all around it. Everything in this house seems to be a floral. And as you look around, clocking all of these things, you start to notice that it's not the things that are floral that seem to catch your eye, but the few items that aren't floral within this room. A chest sits on the side of the room, completely devoid of any kind of trimmings or trappings. Honestly, a little bit nondescript, sitting on the side. It draws your attention simply because everything else feels slightly ostentatious in that very, like, it feels like a 1930s bed and breakfast where everything is there for a reason and everything has been given thought and everything follows the theme. And
Room
then
is
there's
super put together. Then there's
right, and then there's just
box.
this box over here on the side that is kind of similar to the coloring of the floor and just kind of wouldn't stand out to anyone, but as a detective with your years, you clock it.
Cadigan won't make mention of it, but his eye is looking at the chest.
Cool vibing.
Sorry, what? Cole? Okay, Cole? We're going to let everyone else tell me what they're doing before we get to what Cole's doing.
Just soft seancing. Just whatever. I'm dead. I don't mind. It's cool.
Poor Cole.
The vicar reading the room and just absently starts leafing through the books that were on the wall that Cole was like following a finger on. He seems addled in a way since the detective came in, as though maybe he has some troubles.
Mhm.
It might be Miss Stone, like she's off-putting and questionable in her own right. But he's just like following his finger along the bookshelf and looking for something to...
For sure. You find copies of Gone with the Wind, of Mice and Men, a very new copy of The Hobbit.
That is a thing that happened. We're not quite sure if it's blasphemous just yet, but we'll get to it.
Basically, in fact, finding it in and amongst the books makes you pause for a moment. So unlike her, so modern.
He looks at it and he's like, "It's not an antique. It's obviously for the church."
Throws it in the fire immediately.
And Cole, you are perplexed. We're gonna pretend this is a doll.
We don't have to. And hold it up. Go
You
ahead.
just
Come
you
on.
look
Call
you
it
look
ick
at
reaction.
you look at the
Nope.
okay, that's fine. It's all good.
Wrong
You look at
one.
the doll, and the music is playing. And you put the doll over here, and the music is still playing. And you put the doll over here, and the music gets quieter. And you put the doll over here, and the music gets quieter. And you put the doll back over here, and the music goes back to the volume it was.
And I begin just blindly taking steps until there's more noise. I just play a stupid game of hot cold.
Cole is about to play the best game of hot and cold he's ever played.
Oh God, you're not supposed to do this in a minefield.
You start following it. You haven't said anything to anyone. You're just no one else can hear this.
I'm just kind of like drunkenly
He's
swaying
literally
with the
holding
doll.
a doll and looks like he's waltzing with the doll.
And I'm
he
kind of
is.
just-
To
I'm
everyone,
keeping like
to everyone who can't hear the music, it does look like he's dancing with the doll. But to Cole, he's following the sound. It's luring him. And he needs to hear more of it. And it leads him up the stairs slowly. And he's so mesmerized staring into the deep brown of the eyes of this doll that he doesn't really pay attention too much as he's walking up the stairs past the row of pictures with a small face in the background, up to the landing. And it's only when he looks up at the top of the stairs and looks down the hallway of blue carpet that he sees a hallway of mirrors leading out 15 feet and a door at the end of that hallway.
Mhm.
The noise of the music box gets louder, and as he takes a step at the end of where the carpet is worn, the music stops. And he's left alone, untranced, holding a doll, in a long hallway corridor filled with mirrors. And where you are standing, where in the carpet continues in front of you. However, you know that this is where the balcony ends. And I need you to roll a sanity check for me.
Already losing it.
That is
Hey!
a hard success.
Don't undercount the underdog.
against
Push to talk.
all
And
Oh God. So
I would like for the vicar and for Maeve to roll me a cult.
Yeah. I will point out too that Maeve was just following wherever Cole was going.
like one of the greatest
Failure.
musicians of all times.
Of all the
oh.
unlikely, I fail the occult
How
roll.
did you fail that?
That's a 94 on a 90.
Things is swingy.
Happens.
Maeve? So I'm gonna
Yeah.
say that you were Vicar, you were too entranced in the books
Mhm.
and lost track of Cole as he was wandering around.
Mhm.
Detective,
Grief is weird.
Grief is a
detective,
weird soup.
I'm going to give you the choice of whether you came with Maeve or not, because Maeve definitely tracked him up.
Detective Cadigan would have been following very slowly behind them, having stopped at the chest that was devoid of markings. But
Hmm.
he will listen for their footsteps.
Okay.
Uh,
Maeve, I'm going to tell you what you saw.
Yeah, I
As
would
you were-
also like to point out, music or not, Maeve was also waltzing behind Cole.
Just
Not walking, just the same musical motions, the same cadence.
Maeve,
Yeah.
you watched Cole meander up around the hallway
Mm-hmm.
and go up to the balcony and brace himself up on it before stopping and
Oh.
stepping back down.
Dave, my dear.
Yes, Master Cole.
Going to open my eyes.
Yes.
Okay, good. Yeah, you are there. That's
I
brilliant.
am here. Yes.
Maeve.
I always am.
Maeve,
Yes.
you're going to need to be here now.
Okay, yes.
For reasons that are apparent,
Oh.
I am not walking hard bad. Not
You-
good. And I kind of
I mean,
crumple against the railing,
quite-
holding onto it as hard as possible. Like,
quite the
shoving my arm
contrary, Master
between-
Cole.
just
Your cadence was quite well. A waltz I've never seen before. But really, when
can I interest you in a doll?
I think you may. Actually, may I have this dance? And I will grab the doll by the hands, and in a very, yes, of course.
You let the doll lead.
No, I am
And-
leading.
Cole
And we
remains
danced.
trapped on the upper balcony.
And
You are terrified. You are
Absolutely.
way too high.
I am not moving until somebody moves me. This is a good place where I am trapped. I am stuck against this rail.
just
Sitting on the floor.
stay there. I'll be back, Master Cole.
This
I
carpet
have-
is amazing, and I just kind of press my face into it.
I have a question for you, Maeve.
Yes.
You are currently in the possession of 2 artifacts.
Yes.
I would like you to roll me a sanity roll.
Absolutely.
A hard sanity
Whoop.
roll.
Let me change that to hard really quick before I roll it. That was a regular one because I was too quick on the draw. Still a failure.
Maeve,
Yep.
you have never heard anything quite so hauntingly beautiful
Oh.
as the music, as if coming from a beautiful music box, filling your ears.
Yeah.
And as you spin with the doll across the carpet, you open your eyes and
Mhm.
look down the hallway. You
Yes.
see Cole laying on the ground in the middle of a corridor.
Hmm.
No bars, no balcony, just a long path with mirrors of various sizes and ornate gilded patterns,
How?
leading to a door. The door is arched on top with a round stained glass. And from where you can see, it looks like there might be markings on that door.
How wonderful. And as the master pulls the thread, so the puppet does dance. And Maeve twirls with the doll, trusting full well that the floor of the hallway is actually there, and continues.
You step past Cole,
Yep.
and with not a moment of hesitation, you step onto the hallway above that should not exist.
Mhm.
And Cole, for you, she's gone. She didn't fall. She just ceased to be there. You watched her pull herself up and so scared to go anywhere close to that railing. There's no way you could have pulled her back, sure that you were watching her walk to her doom. And rather, she is just gone. You need to push to talk.
I'm quite sure with the next wave of nausea that hits, the vicar and the detective hear me retching over the railing.
You look out in the hallway and there's just vomit coming down
from two
just horrifying noises.
From two very comfy chairs in front of a now very quite sensible fire. Like the vicar's been leafing through a book for a few moments, just something random that he's just like this, and is reading through some kind of, I imagine, fiction. Here's the sound of like "Hua," and looks over at the detective and says quietly, at some point we should perhaps discuss why it was that the Mother Church directed me to come to your assistance. I'm certain that you don't need my help, particularly to deal with the ailings of an elderly woman, or the replications of what you would see in a sanitarium. But Mr. Cole seems to be struggling quite a bit, so perhaps I'll see myself to him.
As you wish. Victor.
And I put the book down on what I can only imagine is like a finely lacquered end table with a doily.
Yep.
And head up to see a quivering shamble of a man.
Detective, are you coming?
The detective is looking at the chest without any markings because it looks important, and that's what his eye was drawn towards.
I give you the privacy to do so.
And he's like, I would like to open this chest. But while he was listening for footsteps, I failed my listen check, so I would have not heard Maeve disappear.
No. You wouldn't realize that there's suddenly less noise than there should be. You wouldn't have noticed any of that. You would have been focused in on this box, this chest. And it is unlocked. And when you open it, it is full of manuscripts. Stacks and stacks and stacks of paper. Not dissimilar to what you saw upstairs, but without all of these nonsensical drawings and circling and shapes. All neatly bound, mainly hand-drawn.
Cadigan is going to take a deep breath in. And would he recall, just based on the evidence that he has, or information that he has, if Lady Merlane's husband, Lord Merlane, was a scriptwriter, or if they were into writing plays or dramas or fiction of that sort?
The lady's library was renowned. She and her late husband had curated together works of all makes. And thus they were always looking for ways to make sure that they had the newest versions of things. They would source books that were hard to find, and add them to their collection, looking to increase their knowledge. These look like they could be manuscripts of some variety. They are in a language that you do not speak.
Roger is going to get away from the chest after looking at it, look over to the bookshelf that the vicar was, and limp back up the stairs, now taking note of the tapestries and the paintings on the wall. He'll note the paintings of the face in the background of some of the paintings.
Now that you have seen it, it's so unsettling, that doll. It was really quite upsetting, honestly, to hear the scream and then see this doll. And you start to realize that as prevalent as the flowers, there's always this face of this young girl, this young doll, scattered throughout the paintings and tapestries around you.
Cadigan is going to stop and look at the painting and again thinking about what he knows of evidence. Lord and Lady Merlane, apart from their nephew, do not have any other blood relations from what Cadigan remembers and understands from the flat. So
No.
he would be like, there's no mention of a child in the house.
No, there was no mention of any child. They never had children. And you start to make note of this, and it starts to feel too coincidental. It feels like you're going up, and it's like once you've seen a particular make of car, suddenly you see it everywhere that you look, and you
Yeah.
start looking around, and all of a sudden you realize that in corners, in the faces of flowers, in the way that a dress is draped, this face is everywhere.
Oh, this
And
is the
as
noise
you-
the anxiety makes. Oh God.
And you are it's building within you, and you whip your head to the left to look at the next painting on there. And the face is right there. And I need to roll a sanity
No.
roll. That
How
is
does
a
everybody have
success.
such high sanity?
Education.
I'm Maeve.
You did not lose touch with your sanity, but I am going to say you book it up those stairs as fast as you can book it.
As
Jump
though
it up the stairs.
somebody turned off the lights in the basement and you're running up before something grabs your ankles.
Well, he's not. He's going to do it in a very dignified manner. He's just going to speedily walk while he's limping up the stairs like that, like a Batman gift that I shared with everybody.
Yeah.
And then
As
stop
graceful an exit as possible.
at the top of the stairs, take out a handkerchief from his bottom jacket, and then wipe his forehead with it, kind of down his face a little bit, and put it and stuff it back into his pocket. Look at the two at the top of the stairs and go, "Where's Maeve?
She's gone.
Where's
She's
Miss Stone?"
why don't you walked over her body? She fell. She obviously fell.
Can I still
She's-
see down the hallway and see everyone there?
You can see them all. They're not distorted. You can hear them and see them.
She can't be here. She's
The vicar
Okay.
is physically
Oh.
picking Cole up and pulling him back from the staircase because, for all I'm aware, you're thinking of jumping.
I am sorry, but I am not leaving the railing without you pulling me off.
I
the
will.
rail.
I'm trying to physically pull you away from the balcony area.
Oh, contest it. Oh,
I'm gonna have
please
to ask you to
contest
roll
it.
strength, Jeff.
Strength versus strength.
Yes.
All right. 40. Success. But
Yeah.
48 versus 91.
Yeah, he's
Son of a
got
bitch.
you.
Bear somehow.
Like, you're probably physically stronger than me, but like he's got it. Like,
I think I left finger furrows in the walnuts, sir.
yeah, probably.
The sound of your hands coming off these wrought iron bars is just screeching because you're
Sound
sweating and you're
effect
just
worthy.
He pulls him up by his by his armpits and puts him against the wall so he's on his feet and says, "You're speaking nonsense, man."
She's not here. She's can't be here. Or else what I saw was madness.
Cadigan is going to go to the bedroom behind him. Miss Stone? Miss Stone, where are you? Miss
As
Stone?
Cadigan turns away from the balcony, Miss Stone, like a figure approaching out of the shadow, very smoothly, way more smoothly than any human being should, leans out of this non-existence so that she is but inches away from the detective's ear, just right behind him. He goes, "Yes, detective, I've always been here."
Stop forcing sanity checks on the other players.
Friend, it's obviously an illusion. Charlatans have used mirrors for centuries.
The young
Miss Stone, have you
Hmm.
located some sort of hidden receptacle hidden behind a mirror?
Her body is
Oh.
floating in the middle of the balcony.
I have witnessed a man hold himself aloft using nothing but a walking stick in improbable angles. I mean, light plays tricks everywhere. We investigate these things. They're typically harmless.
Yeah, you notice that from like the top bit of her torso that's leaning out of nothing, a number of the necklaces are missing from around her neck, and she leans her hand forward, and the small silver chains are wrapped around her fingers and her palm, and as she lifts, suspended in chain, the doll out of nothing, and goes, "Oh, just the young miss of the house had something to share with me."
Oh,
And she'll
So-
step out of the nothing back onto regular floor.
This lovely conversation at this point is definitely going to be punctuated by the sound of a set of brass knuckles sinking themselves into the wall about 1/4 of an inch at the end of my arm, as I have stretched my hand through my weapon, and in a stress reaction I'm sure many people can relate to, I have put my hand into the fine wall. And just
Careful,
to feel something.
Mr. Cole.
Could we?
that's your property, sir, that you're damaging.
Could we?
Mr. Cole, I remind you that you're in the presence of a law officer, and concealed weapons, I believe, are illegal.
That's why I've revealed it, isn't it?
Mm,
Okay.
I believe we
Mr.
should
Harry
go-
Houdini did this very thing several years ago before his death.
Houdini,
If
an
we,
old friend.
if I could
The
make
strings were strongly wound around him.
Yes, detective.
if I could make a gentle suggestion, can we leave this part of the house and make our way back to the fire, where we can sit and discuss our findings? I think we are now all together in this
Does anyone else hear
manner.
that?
I don't know what you're talking about, sir.
Does anyone else hear the music?
You can hear it.
Detective.
I do hear some
Hmm.
sort of music, and that doll is eerily like a painting that I just saw coming up the stairs.
Then I do believe, Detective, that she is being pulled to you now. And I'll hover my hand and chain over, and with just the right flexes of certain muscles, the doll unravels itself from the chain into the detective's hands.
Cadigan is
necklaces
going
go
to
back
look and
on.
are you disembodied? Like, are you like half floating?
I'm back. I'm back.
He came back
standing.
now.
Back in the hall.
Just beside. Okay. Cadigan will take his free hand and grab the doll a moment, and we'll look at it. I'm not taking it out. I'm not going to look at it. And we'll just
But it
look at
so
it and then
desires to be
go
held by
toward
you.
the painting that he saw, even though it's creepy, and goes, I don't know what you're trying to show me. I don't know what this thing is, but you look to be a clue.
You look up and you are looking at the painting, and you look up and turn around, and there's a mirror across from you on the wall. It's always been there. And as you look at your reflection, it's odd, you know. You're looking at the doll. So why is the doll looking at you? And its arms are down. So why is it pointing towards the balcony? Except it's not a balcony, it's a hallway. And there's so many mirrors.
You see, Mr. Merlane, it's simply a trick of the light. And the vicar just like squares his shoulders and steps out into the balcony and says, see, there's footpaths right here. You can just step right in, and takes a leap of faith and just walks.
Oh no.
Maeve starts singing very slowly and very eerily, Itsy Bitsy Spider.
Oh no.
Okay. All right. James, does the vicar believe in the occult?
The vicar knows. So his understanding is rooted in, like, there are practitioners and illusionists all over. His particular study is sussing out which ones are stage magicians and which ones are not, and knowing the difference between them, and knowing when he can use his very high persuade skill to convince people when it is or isn't.
You take a leap of faith.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mirrors don't make people disappear like that.
And your foot lands on solid ground.
Mm-hmm.
And
he clenches his butthole and keeps going.
The air behind you shatters like a mirror, and all of you can see the hallway.
Oh God. Horrible retching noises and the smell of port.
There is no balcony. There is no blood stain below you. There is no front door. The hallway goes out in front of you, Vicar, another 8 feet, 8 to 10 feet, we'll call it. There are mirrors lining the entire way. The door at the end of the hallway is illuminated. There's a round stained glass window there, and there are symbols all around it. You will have to traverse the hallway to get to it.
You see, friend, it's merely pageantry. Some kind of illusory reality made to entice the senses.
Right.
I imagine even that blood pool that we saw down below, merely some kind of a moving picture reflected in a mirror.
Oh no, Father, I assure you that one was very real. And I'll suck a little bit out from underneath the fingernail.
He winks at her.
I reiterate, please stop making party members roll sanity checks.
All right.
Oh, it's what I'm here for, though.
Yeah.
It's exactly what I want to be doing.
Vicar, I need you to roll a sanity check.
Absolutely. Regular or hard?
Hard. Thank you.
Failure by 1.
By 1.
By 1. Yep. Would you like to use your luck to not take that penalty?
The spiciest of dice.
Yes.
All right. Mark off 1 point of luck off your list.
Changing my luck from 50 to 49.
Okay.
That is a reasonable amount of luck to use.
From this point on, every roll is hard. Unless I tell you that it is extreme.
Okay.
For everyone. Mm-hmm. Welcome to the other side of the mirror. What would you like to do?
Detective, I believe it's time for you to be forthcoming with what it is you're trying to ascertain here.
The detective who is looking at the doll, looking at this mirror, seeing that the doll is pointing into the direction of this hallway, also seeing now the markings that he's now familiar with, he will look and say, "This is a key of some sort to unlocking the mysteries of how we've found your dear aunt, Master Merlin. When your aunt came to us, there were markings on her body, similar to the markings in that room that we were just in, and one of those markings looks like that exact window, that almost mirror-like symbol on that door ahead of us. I do not know if they were illusionists, but I found manuscripts in the chest downstairs that reflect languages that I do not understand. Now, I don't think I am a person who finds the occult interesting at all. I'm looking for clues as to what caused her death, as it was a suspicious case. Her body came to us in a manner most unusual. And it leads me to believe that this was planned.
Some sort of strange murder perpetrated by some strange assailant.
I'm not sure if
Oh.
their murder or homicide investigation is involved in this matter, but I am concerned in the state of the way her body came to us, almost in a ritualistic manner.
What
And-
manner of symbols were on her body?
He will, because the door to the room with all the threads and the paper is still open, he's going to point to the symbol that he pointed out earlier to Maeve, and then he'll point to random symbols across the room. All of these. That one was on her body, carved and etched into her skin. Like a withered flower, she came to us. Looking down at the doll, and this doll is tied to it. I do not believe you have any cousins, Master Merlin, that I am aware of. It's interesting to me that they would have such an artifact of this nature here. But I do believe that there are patterns, at least in some of the things. I might not be able to catch them all or read them all or understand, but there's always a pattern in how someone lays out their life. I am looking for clues to see whether or not Lady Merlin was part of some sort of terrible madness that would have caused her to come to us in that manner that, unfortunately, she arrived.
The symbols that you make reference to. Keeper.
Mhm.
The vicar thinks of Victoria.
Yes.
And thinking back to why he's here and what led him here, do they seem familiar?
Yes.
That is not a good sign.
I believe perhaps your dear great aunt may have, if your observations are correct, detective, come under the purview of the Holy Mother Church and may have been subject to possession.
Possession
Indeed, sir.
by a devil?
Oh, no.
Far from it, usually. Y-
Are you insinuating she's some sort of addict?
No.
Or
not in
a
the
victim
slightest,
of
sir.
opiates?
No.
I mean, she was
It's
the
a
lady in high
possibility.
society friend.
It is quite a possibility, although I did not investigate or see any form of pills or bottles. A more thorough inspection might be required in this room, and he looks to the room with all the weird writings and the threads on the wall.
I will
Although-
digress.
He
There
puts a
is
hand.
ample evidence that my great aunt
Knew how to party.
She has some esoteric architecture. She has mirrored walls in her home that lead to strange hidden rooms that we haven't yet seen. And evidence indicates socially unacceptable behavior. Surely.
There have been
Really?
accounts reported to the church of individuals falling ill, speaking of claiming to speak to entities from other worlds, hearing voices in inanimate objects that aren't really there, but they swear they are there. Music when there is no one playing.
I am certain that whatever evidence lies at the end of that hallway will educate us all.
Hmm. And with all due respect, detective, but if you have been through a war and still don't believe in the existence of ghosts, you are far out of your depths. And you got off lucky.
We should be so lucky were it a poltergeist. And he reaches into his coat as though he's gripping something, looks at Miss Stone, and starts walking down the hallway. He is stoic. He is set, as like he's squared his shoulders, and starts walking towards down the hallway past the mirrors.
Cole is immediately slinking into step behind him, not thinking about how high up he is in the building.
Who has the doll?
The detective does.
All right. What is our marching order down this 4.5-foot wide hallway where you can't walk side by side each?
I mean, so far it's the vicar than me.
I will go after Master Cole.
Detective.
I will bring up the rear.
Okay.
I have pulled loose threads off my cardigan and I'm starting to weave something in my fingers.
Always more spooky shit. Just adding.
I appreciate it so much. It's so good.
It's what I'm here for.
You hear this like sound as his fists ball against something under his coat in that leather satchel that he carries with him.
I mean, I'm gripping brass knuckles.
Yep.
We all have our little foibles, I suppose.
Yep. Doodads.
As the detective's feet step into the walkway beyond the balcony, all of you hear the music coming from beyond the door. You, Vicar, you make your way to the door and you look up at it, and there are markings all around the arch of the wood there. You read through them, trying to make sense of them.
Anything Latin?
No Latin.
Anything Gaelic?
No Gaelic. It's strange, you know,
Dang
the symbols, it looks like it could.
You gotta ask, you gotta try.
Absolutely.
always.
Absolutely you do. Absolutely you do, but not everything is written in Latin. But it's a good.
That's why I took Gaelic.
Exactly.
Out of
Egyptian,
curiosity-
if I would have been playing as a min-maxer.
Mhm.
Oh, well.
Out of curiosity, would I have seen some of these markings or languages in a law book?
No. This one looks different. And I'm specifically detective because you saw the doll in the mirror. I'm going to say that you are getting a little paranoid. You've been seeing the space as you've been entering, and you're glancing. You're still holding the doll. And you keep glancing in the mirrors as you're passing them to see if the direction of the doll has changed. The doll is still pointing towards so if it's in a mirror, it's pointing towards the door and looking at you directly in the eye each time you pass. And you get to the door.
You hear Cole specifically, because you're right on my 6. You hear him hear you on the day of trouble in the name of the God of Abraham to protect you from his sanctuary and strengthen you out of his... Like, going through specifically exorcism rites and deliverance. Just muttering to himself as he's taking things in.
Mm-hmm.
Does the door have a handle, a key?
The door has no handle that you can see.
I'm gonna toss into Cole, who is in between the Vicar, and Maeve is in the worst spot because as the Vicar is doing holy recital, Maeve is doing unholy recital.
Sweet Jesus, y'all motherfuckers need Satan.
Okay, so we got holy rebuttal, we got unholy rebuttal, we got music playing at the same time.
Amen.
Mhm.
Cole is just finding solace in solid, cool brass, weighty in his palm.
It's just like Vata Unsa coming from both sides of you, but a little more sinister from the back.
Just there's layers of
Yeah.
litigious.
I would like a hard
Ugh.
spot hidden group roll. So I
Very
want
good.
everyone to roll it.
Spot hidden. Nope.
Nope.
Absolutely not.
Is that everybody? Did you
That was
all
everybody.
fail?
We
Yep.
all failed. It's a hard roll.
It is
Yep.
a hard roll. But you guys have just done so well
Are all
recently with
rolls
it.
hard now, or is it just sanity rolls that are hard now?
Well,
I'm looking at your rolls because I can adjust as necessary. All right.
But-
So you don't see anything.
none of us see an obvious, straightforward.
Would you like to push the roll?
Which means what?
Which means you get a chance to roll it again, but the consequence if you fail is bad.
Hmm.
Specifically, yes.
All right. You guys don't all have to do this. Each of you can choose if you want to roll it again.
Maeve.
You can roll
Maeve.
this second roll. I'm going to let you roll at standard because you're pushing it and your outcome is going to be real bad if you fail this.
Cadigan has been looking at the mirror all this time. Has the expression changed on the doll?
No.
Yeah, I cannot use luck when I push a roll, if I recall.
That's correct.
Fail by one.
Maeve, halfway through one of the lines of recital, stands stock straight, fully upright, head slightly a little bit higher tilted than normal, and goes, "Detective, this call is for you." And we'll just stand to the side and create space for the detective to move closer to the door.
Can I clarify? Are you doing something with that walkie-talkie while you're saying that, or what are you doing?
No, I'm just standing to the side to allow for the detective to move towards where the doll is pointing.
I'm going to take the invitation and swap spaces, backing out of the way. We're going to do the sideways shuffle awkwardly in a hallway, and I'm not going to be at the front anymore. Yay.
These are all, I'm just kind of handling everything that's happening all at once. So we've got one more small thing to happen.
I failed my roll.
You did. We're going to get to you.
Oh, the vicar invokes something dark.
Actually, no.
steadfast.
He was in the front. You were the very, very front.
Mm-hmm.
They can't do what they're going to do without you doing what you're about to do.
Yep.
Which is disappear. And everyone hears a thunk and a call. Vicar, you're going to take some fall damage.
I see how it is.
As you land in a pool of blood on a deep red rug on the main floor.
Trap doors, I tell you.
Sure. You need to take some damage.
Mm-hmm.
Roll me a d6.
5.
You take 5 points of damage
All
from
right.
this fall,
I'm
bringing
to
you down to
4 out of 9 hit points.
4 out of 9. You are a human that just fell a story.
Yep.
Guys, you can hear him
Oh,
crying
God,
out
why?
in pain from the
I-
basement
I
or
am,
from
I,
the main floor.
I am shuffling my ass back to that carpet to lay face first on the upper balcony into the soft plush velour of solid firm ground that obviously doesn't have trapdoors on it. No, just shuffling past. Excuse me, pardon me, thank you. Creep it all away from me and just planting myself as firmly and hardly as I can on the floor.
What's everyone else doing?
I am still standing to the side, allowing the detective to move forward.
Spooky woman.
Detective, you have been transfixed by that doll in the mirror. Roll me a regular spot hidden. It's too bad that you weren't at the front of this line. Poor Vicar. When you look in the reflection of that door, there's a handle.
Oh,
I see how it is.
tricksy hidden handles.
What would you like to do?
The detective will look towards Maeve and will say, I generally believe in a higher power guiding my footsteps, but I personally believe that my
shouldn't.
destiny is mine to control.
Hmm.
If
Also
anything
misguided.
If anything should happen to me,
Says the man from the floor.
I had a heart attack. And he's going to open the door.
So
And as the final words of that statement, if anything should happen to me, I had a heart attack. Maeve will just reach up to the storm of necklaces, and one of the lockets she just pinches closed and puts it down.
There are for
you
keeping promises.
you're looking in the mirror and you reach over to the side and hold the door. You're staring at your hand in the mirror and you feel blindly behind you and your hand touches a brass doorknob that you turn and push the door inwards. Light spills out towards you and you and Maeve take a step into the room beyond. The vicar lays in a pool of blood on the main floor, and Cole cowers at the edge of the balcony, scared of his wits of now his potential to fall from great height. And with that, we're going to close the chapter for today, and we'll
Excellent.
join back next week to see what else happens.
Love it.
Oh, you guys are doing so good.
Oh, my heart
we
rate
are-
has been up for an hour.
We are going to spend the next
Jeez.
few minutes updating your skills, which I forgot to remind you to mark your skills. So this is going to be a fun scroll through Roll20.
Whenever
Please-
we successfully rolled against
Anytime you successfully rolled a skill, mark beside that skill on your character sheet. What you are
Okay.
going to do is then roll a D100 for each skill you successfully used. And if you succeeded at it, or if you beat it, or if the roll would have succeeded as a roll, Wow, Melissa. Okay, start this over again. Put a mark beside every skill that you successfully used tonight.
Yeah.
Then roll a standard roll with using that skill. If you succeed with it, add a D10 roll to the value of that skill.
Okay.
There is absolute
And
luck.
only one per roll.
Once you've succeeded
one
once,
each.
you've succeeded for that skill. You don't need to keep re-rolling for it.
Understood.
And
I only roll. Okay.
most of it's going to be spot hidden and occult.
Yep.
Because it's what you guys used the most.
And
Hard
library.
success on my spot hidden. Failure on the occult. Hold
Okay, so
on.
you can
Oh,
roll
I'm still
a D-
rolling hard. Hold on.
Okay.
Yeah, it still failed. Okay.
Okay, so you can now you roll a d10, which is /r space 1d10.
4.
You can add 4 to spot hidden.
Spot hidden.
All right, I'm going to roll library use first.
Okay.
That's a failure, so I add nothing to it. Occult, that's a success.
Right.
So rolling 1d10. That's 8, so my
You
occult
now have
goes to...
you now have a 98 in occult. Congratulations.
Of all the
Other
improbable.
occult.
And then spot hidden failure. Yep.
I had rolled a listen and spot hidden. So we just roll a d10?
I need you to first roll a regular roll in each to see if
A
you're going to
regular
get the
success
d10.
check. Yeah.
Regular success check.
Is it
So you-
anything we rolled or just things that we succeeded at?
Just things you succeeded at. So your listen was a failure, but your spot hidden was not. So roll a d10, which is /r 1d10. You can add 9 to your spot hidden.
Sweet.
Nice.
Oh, and to actually edit that live on a Roll20 sheet, top right of your character sheet has a little checkbox for
Yes,
edit.
it has an edit button
Yeah.
there. The last thing I want, sorry,
I think
Cole,
I only
you
had
have
the
it. Cole,
one,
you-
which was
oh, and you
psychology.
failed it. Oh, yes. Have you rolled it?
No, not yet. One sec.
Okay, sorry. Trying to make good job. That is a success. So you may add 5 to your psychology. The last thing I'd like you all to do is to roll luck. You are going to go into the final episode of this arc with whatever amount of luck you roll. Oh my gosh. So what you're doing is, okay, so because we're all rolling it this way, you're actually taking 100 minus whatever you rolled, because that's how many points you're going to
Okay.
get to use next turn. So, Cadigan, you
42.
get 24. Am I doing math right? Yeah. You get 24. Vicar, you get 99 points of luck, because that is a critical success on luck.
And I get 42.
Maeve, you're going to get
right?
42. And last but not least,
Sorry
what
to
are you going to?
ask.
Yeah,
Sorry to ask. Is that 24 plus 50 or is just 24?
you just get 24.
Gotcha.
And Cole, not bad at all. You're going to get 84 points of luck. I feel like you could use it.
So we don't add it to our pre-existing luck.
No,
Correct.
these overwrite.
Okay.
You're pushed to talk, Ken.
I do love the setting. But yeah, you're just resetting your luck to that
Yeah.
value.
Sounds good.
So-
I reset to lower.
Yes, that's why it's luck.
I love how the
Yeah,
two
that's fair.
guys who are still in regular reality are the ones with the extra luck bonuses.
Well, you know.
Look, I need some help in combating the evil of darkness. Something out there recognized it and helped you too. That's all.
You know
How's
what
the
you need
pattern
help
in that
with? You
bloody
need
carpet look like?
It looks like my tailbone is broken, friend.
yeah.
Right in the coccyx.
Like you don't need
Yeah.
help with the occult. You need help with a broken leg.
Yeah.
Yeah, honestly, I'm in this moment going, shit, I should have taken medicine.
Oh my
Um,
god. I think I'm
when-
the best trained medic in the room.
Probably.
I got first aid 40.
I got medicine 1.
Yeah.
Oh, we're doomed.
Yeah.
Well,
I got
We'll
first aid
find-
30.
Okay.
we'll find out next time how you make out with stairs. But
You get a lot of splinters.
for tonight, just before I toss it back over to James for our closeouts, we're going to wrap up a little early here tonight.
Mhm.
Thank you all for showing up for Call of Cthulhu. We'd have one more episode to round out this story next Monday. Very excited to see how our investigators make out beyond the glass door.
Yeah.
James, what else we got going on?
So aside from Call of Cthulhu goodness, we're gonna be doing we've got Roll for Wishes next month on October
Fun.
28th that we're gonna be gearing up for. Following Call of Cthulhu, Riley's gonna be running some Pathfinder 2nd Edition for like 6 weeks in a row. In November, we're gonna be helping out with Tabletop YYCCon. helping run some RPGs just over the weekend. It's going to be a good time. And then Neon is going to be running some Avatar: The Last Airbender, the RPG.
Something completely different than this spooky vibe that I have going on.
It's just going to be cabbage jokes 100%
The
of the
entire time. It's all cabbages.
Yeah.
And then me listing avatars people didn't even know existed.
I like it. You know, that's creative freedom.
Who owns a boat?
Yeah.
I love it. With that, if you're interested, join us on our Discord. We've usually got some fun shenanigans happening. There's a bunch of pictures of me pretending to be a dark wizard on a really hot day, meandering around in Okotoks. That kind of stuff's coming, and we got some video and stuff coming out of it as well. And then, yeah, just check us out. Have a good time. We just wrapped up on Girl by Moonlight. If you're interested in more happy-go-lucky trauma and angst, instead of oh god, we're all going to die horribly and no one will find us angst.
You're all going to die horribly.
I'm the closest one to the door.
I did
can
not
leave
leave a
at any
forwarding
time.
address with anyone I know. I am on the lam, essentially.
I like it. It'll
Don't
be a
worry,
good time.
Ken, you are home.
Oh, Jesus.
And I'm always where I need to be.
That's warm bed back there. That is, yeah, it's a good time. Anyways, that's all I got. So thank you, everybody. Tonight was spooky and good and fun, and I'm still wary of haunted waffles, but
Yes, we do
we'll
have 2 yet undiscovered boxes.
Yeah, I am
Feel
so
free
excited
to
to
just
find out
tape
what's in.
yours up and just no.
Mine?
No,
no,
not
the
yours.
doll.
No, the doll. Feel
Oh.
free to tape up the doll and just be like, no.
No, you have to keep it now. You have to display it somewhere. It might get angry otherwise.
I have an idea.
Yeah. Shout
You're
out to our
muted.
boy Riley.
Yes.
Yeah.
100%.
Oh, yeah, amazing,
God.
amazing stuff.
Handcrafted spooky shit.
And
I'll
the
talk
next
to my
time,
doll and tell them to not haunt me. That's fine.
the next time you're on another stream, just put the doll up into the camera and see what people say. See what's happening.
Have it
See how
You know
that
what?
goes.
I
somewhere.
think I might.
Have
You
it
know
get
what?
closer.
I really might, but I don't want to because that's
Star-
scary.
Stars
So
would
happy
appreciate
my
that immensely.
jaws hurt. I'm so happy my jaw hurts.
People he wishes to see in the world.
But that's all we have for you guys this week. So we'll leave it there. Thanks for stopping by, and have a good night, everybody.
See you all later.
Night.